Hi everyone and welcome to a new season of Ultimate Racing 2D2, and this time we're going for the 2015 F1 season. Of course, famous mostly for Will Stevens' only year in F1, Mauritia propping themselves up at the back following their near collapse. The debut seasons for Carlos Sainz, Max Verstappen in, like for their full-time drives, Maldonado in his final terms as well. And of course, we had other emblematic things such as McLaren going off with Honda and having an absolute dog shit year. So we're going to go ahead and doing our usual do here. So what are we going to do in terms of a season? Let's think. I think we should kick off with some beauty in Bahrain, of course. China always plays a good little role in this game, so let's have a go at that one as well. And then I think we should have some fun with some interesting newer tracks. So let's have a go at, I was just testing it out and it worked okay. Someone's done Yas Marina 2022 as a layout, so let's go to there for 3. Don't want Yas Marina always being the complete Finnish version of everything that goes on, but we've also got some interesting stuff elsewhere. So India has now also been put in with some AI lines in as well, so that's great to see. Although India was off the calendar by the time we got to 2015, it's good to have it have a little go. Why not also have a little rummage around Donington, for example? Let's have a go there instead for round 5. Continuing off again, let's give Baku a go with some AI lines there too for round 6. Then I think we should dive back onto some of the game's original stuff. Let's dive back in again. It feels like we should do the old German Grand Prix for 7. Then we should do Hungary for round 8. Let's give Russia a go for round 9. I don't think we've done that before. I don't think Mexico was back on the calendar for 2015 off the top of my head, bearing in mind I'm doing this and recording this at 4:30 in the morning. But we'll go there for round 10. Why not? A little bit of Sepang. That was still on the calendar back then for round 11. Where else should we go? Oh, Istanbul Park. It could be Istanbul for all I know. Let's get that one on the agenda. And then I think let's give Estoril a little bit of love. Some Kyalami, considering that's in the news as potentially having a return. And perhaps let's finish off with Mugello as well. Oh, Adelaide. Oh, yeah, let's do Adelaide as a finale. This could all go horribly wrong. That's why we're recording it together. So, number of laps. Let's go for 16 laps as always. 1 lap for quali that's visible. 100% AI. 20 cards, of course. Spectator mode is on. And we're going to leave stuff with the clear and the soft, medium, and hard because I just think it works well. Damage medium, boost is on, collisions on, penalties are medium. Let's give it a go. Round 1. So I had a very quick rummage through on the AI out of the gate. It looked relatively okay. I just did a couple of tweaks to make McLaren slightly slower. The Mauritius slightly faster because otherwise we was going to lap them like 3 times per race. And some other rebalancing elsewhere. But bizarrely, this looks like it's going to be a Ferrari benefit. Is it going to be a Ferrari front row lockout? Who's going to get it though? Seb or Kimi? I think Seb grabbed it just on the line there. Well done. Let's have a little go. Oh no, Kimi still got it by 0.2 of a second. Then Mercedes 3-4, Red Bull 5-6. And Massa, Perez, Bottas, Hülkenberg rounding out your top 10. Sauber had a better year in 2015 compared to what they did in their only time they ever scored 0 points in a season, 2014. Toro Rosso making a debut. McLaren there, not so bad. Marussia well off the pace. And I think there'll be an interesting key to this championship because our leaders are going to have to lap them. Out of the race then for round 1, and Raikkonen holds it, but not for long. Vettel right around the outside. Kimi Raikkonen trying to hold it back through. Hamilton steams through on the medium tyres. Rosberg on mediums too, getting round Vettel as he gets shuffled out. Then it's Kvyat trying to torpedo his way through, but Vettel sees better of that and dives out of the way. Ricciardo next, then it's Hülkenberg and Massa ahead of the rest of the midfield steaming through. At the end of lap 1 though, Kimi clearly bounding off ahead. Vettel versus Hamilton. Hamilton holds on for now. Looking good. And Kvyat there moves up into third. The Russian driver then outbrakes himself, letting Vettel back through again. Hockenberg, Bottas, Ricciardo. Perez runs out wide. That allows Pastor Maldonado to have a little nose in the Lotus. Their last season before they switched over to Renault, of course. And that slipstream looking very good for Ericsson and Verstappen to close up on the hard-shod tired Carlos Sainz. That was a change further up. That's Vettel getting back past Kvyat for third position. Bottas and Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, Maldonado, Perez, Ericsson. Massa's had a torrid time there. He's dropped back to 11th in that Williams. Looking very juicy further back. Don't know what's happened to Rosberg in all of this. He's not pitted, but somehow... I don't know what has happened to Rosberg. He's really lost out. He's down in 18th. Team Russia's there, not really competing with everyone else. But Hamilton, wow, medium tyres starting to close in on the softs of Raikkonen. Kvyat going with him. Bottas now attacking Vettel. The damaged Maldonado being overtaken by the hard-shod Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo. Then it's the Force Indias behind. Rosberg making his way back up the order. So clearly he's been off the track and had an issue that we just missed as he gets past the Saubers. Nazar there spraying out all kinds of stuff at the back. I imagine he'll be in, as is Jenson Button, as is Fernando Alonso. A trio in following Carlos Sainz, who's already stopped in that Toro Rosso, and he's past Will Stevens and on to Roberta Merry as the back markers get out and about. Raikkonen goes on for another lap, 6 to 10 laps. Those tyres could last. 8 to 12 for the mediums. Hardshot Daniel Ricciardo 10 to 14. So again, you'd do well to make it to the end. Don't think it's necessarily advisable to try it. But look, Hamilton closing down Kimi Raikkonen now. Head onto the back straight, and that's the trouble. That was Maldonado and Hülkenberg in trouble there, and someone else is in trouble further back. That was Felipe Nasser and possibly Fernando Alonso there, taking each other off down at turns 2 and 3. Not normally a corner in real F1, but I don't know, Nikita Mazepin managed to find it there. 2 more into the pits, Maldonado and Hülkenberg following their off. But here comes Lewis Hamilton trying to dive through on Kimi Raikkonen. They kind of bottom out at the end of the straight there, not able to pass each other, run out of boost. And as soon as they cross the line, both of them go for it. And it's the boost that causes the problem, see. They boost too fast, and then Raikkonen runs out wide. Hamilton snatches through and up into the lead of the race. Then Kvyat, Daniel Ricciardo following behind with Perez, Bottas, Vettel, Massa, Rosberg now up into 9th again, and Grosjean in the top 10. Roberto Merry getting out of the way with the blue flags, and Kimi Raikkonen's into the pits. Bang on half distance. Kvyat follows him. Real different short kind of gaps here as Ricciardo up to second. That won't last, I don't think. Yeah. Bottas, Kvyat, Perez, Vettel, who has pitted in that Ferrari, trying to manhandle the Mexican out of the way. That looks like Kvyat's getting through. Yes, he is. Past the speedy in a straight line Williams. Less grip for that car, though. Vettel now clear past Perez, who pops into the pits That might well save his bacon on that strategy, to be fair, as past Rosberg goes on Massa, runs out wide, pushes Massa into the dirt. Oh dear. Flexing his dirty moves early in the season. Hülkenberg, fresh tyres, smashes his way past Felipe Baby, who will not be staying cool after that. Jenson Button puts a move on Carlos Sainz. Remember, Sainz was the first one to stop, so his soft shod tyres will be looking a wee bit worse for wear. Button trying his best to hold on and get through. Highly rated drivers, but everything else in that car is pretty much terrible. So we'll see how that goes on. Rosberg in for his stop. Rejoins in 10. Massa out behind Grosjean. Verstappen, hard tyres. Making his way through. And Button out just ahead of Marcus Ericsson and Carlos Sainz. As that's Hamilton into the pits and he's out on soft tyres, but it's behind Kimi Raikkonen. Key and crucial there in the swap around, but now Hamilton with very nice tyres. Currently holding off Bottas and Vettel. Don't know how Bottas managed to get himself involved in all of this in the Williams. Wasn't there early on, is now. Hamilton pushing Raikkonen down the back straight. Same for Vettel on Bottas. Hamilton takes the lead. What are they going to do on the boost? He going to get down to turn 1? Yes, he is. Just about holds it on and gets through. Soft tyres definitely the way to go at the moment. Raikkonen, Bottas then still ahead of Vettel. Then it's Kvyat. Lapped Nazar just behind. But they're coming up to a gaggle of cars that they're going to have to lap soon. And that'll be the Button Sainz Ericsson battle. Well, that's starting to thin itself out a little bit, so I think that they're okay, as that is Vettel smashing his way past Valtteri Bottas. Ooh, then runs out wide, and that's not a good move there for Vettel, a mistake. But Bottas just hits into the back of him, not good for him. Kvyat lead Red Bull, quite fancies getting past Bottas, rubs him out wide. Takes a position down at the end of the back straight. Good run there by Danny Kvyat. Hülkenberg, 6th position, doing well. Daniel Ricciardo's not had a good run of things, down in 8th place at the moment, and Rosberg made his recovery from 18th up to the top 10, stuck now in 9th. That's Maldonado being passed by Felipe Massa, going around the outside to take 10th position. And you can see Lewis Hamilton, he's got the traffic now in between himself and Kimi Raikkonen. Both Toro Rossos, nose to tail, Verstappen and Sainz. I don't think Verstappen's tyre strategy has helped him at all. And that's not going to help Kimi Raikkonen lap cars. Oh, and that's Ericsson off in the gravel. There's been contact with Jenson Button. That's helped out Carlos Sainz, and that's really distracted Lewis Hamilton. And look at how quickly Kimi Raikkonen just snikes onto the back of Lewis Hamilton, and it's all to play for on the last couple of corners. Will Hamilton hold it off? I think he might do, but look at the speed of which Kimi Raikkonen is pulling onto the back, runs out wide. Will he pull out and do a slipstream run? Yes, he will. On the line! Dead heat! Raikkonen and Hamilton, who will that be given to? Wow! Kvyat 3rd, Vettel 4, Bottas 5. Ricciardo's going to get Hülkenberg on the line for 6th and 7th. Then it's Perez, a good start for Force India there. Rosberg a terrible 9. Massa's going to be 10. Grosjean, Maldonado, I think Sainz or Button. Either or, I think it's going to be Sainz ahead of Button. Then Ericsson, Verstappen, Nazar, Alonso, Will Stevens and Roberto Merri is your 0-point scorer. Remember, the points for these championships, whenever I do them, 30 for a win and 25, 22, 20, and then it sort of follows-ish the IndyCar from down there, from 5th down to 19th, with 20th scoring zilch. And that feels a little bit like it's going to be either Stevens or Merri. Pretty much any time we race. So there's a championship. Lewis Hamilton takes an immediate lead there, but it's Raikkonen best of the rest ahead of Kvyat. 4 different constructors in the top 6. But it's Ferrari with Rosberg's dodgy start that takes the lead at the minute over Mercedes. Red Bull 3rd ahead of Williams and Force India in their little battle. Lotus, Toro Rosso, McLaren, Sauber on equal points, and Marussia are all on their own pretty much as we go on to Jana. For our quali here. I know this circuit gets quite a bit of a rap, but I quite enjoy racing around here, to be honest. It's grown on me over the years. It could be a bit like Stockholm Syndrome, especially with all the new circuits coming on, and they're getting progressively worse and worse, my opinion. This is looking much better for Nico Rosberg, poking his nose out front, and this looks like a Mercedes front row lockout. Well clear of Danny Kvyat in third and Vettel. Massa doing on a good show as well. So much better there from Mercedes in quali. Front row for them. Potential fireworks between Kvyat and Vettel. Are we going to see a repeat of art imitating life? Perez in the top 10 for Force India, as is Hockenheimring, to be fair, in 9th. Raikkonen down the bit. Ricciardo not having a good run there. Button punching above his weight there in that McLaren. Up in 12th, beating both Saubers and his teammate as well. Toro Rosso not running so well there. 16 and 17 for Sainz and Verstappen, and Pastor Maldonado not good at all. Almost closer to the Mauritius than he is to the rest of the pack. So hopefully we'll sort that out for Racecraft. Off the line, and it's Mercedes on hard tyres. That's a brave call. But they've managed to hold it as Kvyat manages to keep Perez, who's started very fast and got himself up to 4th. As here we go, Mercedes side by side. They've not taken each other out. And that has worked out beautifully for them. Pulling away, but here comes the slipstream babies as Vettel dives round the Red Bulls and Force Indias, and my goodness me, he saved everything for the end there. And look at Perez diving through too. Hamilton in real trouble as he tries to desperately hold off everyone and his wife getting through, but he's down to 4th, and now he'll be 5th as Kvyat goes through. Hülkenberg slides through. There's Raikkonen and Massa sliding through, and they're on medium tyres. Next up's Daniel Ricciardo, he's diving through, and there's Marcus Ericsson and the Sauber for all things diving through. Hamilton having an atrocious lap too. Meanwhile up front, Rosberg's lost the lead from Vettel. Perez in the podium slots. Massa looking quite toasty in that Williams in the medium tyres. Here comes Hamilton. I don't know what happened there. It's as if he just switched off. He's now back up to 7th. And things seem to be kind of easing back out again. Ricciardo and the Hülkenberg side by side as Raikkonen takes the Mercedes. Hamilton down to 8th. Button on soft tyres up into the top 10 in that McLaren. Good run by him. Then it's Kvyat, Ericsson, Grosjean. Bottas has lost out at 2 on the hard tyres. In fact, all the hard tyre runners towards the back. Verstappen down in 18th, battling with Nasser. Up front, Seb Vettel romping away with it for the time being. It will start to come back to these hard shod tyres later on. But the hard tyres, if they're going to try and go to the end of the whole race or stop right at the very end, that's still not the optimum strategy. It never is in this game with a 16-lap race. So they all come steaming through. Oh, hello. That's Fernando Alonso, Romain Grosjean and Max Verstappen battling over 15, 16 and 17. Somehow they've all survived. There's Vettel up front. Still got a second advantage over Rosberg. Not really pulling away anymore though, and here's Hamilton. He's managed to start his recovery. Next up for him, Daniel Ricciardo dives down the inside beautifully, and then with that Mercedes engine has power down the straight. Ricciardo is able to slipstream his way up to the back of him but cannot overtake. Trying to go the long way round. He's got the tyre advantage potentially, but no, his tyre's now knackered. You can see the difference there, soft versus hard, as I flick between them. And that is dropping Ricciardo off the back. Into the pits, Grosjean, Alonso and Hülkenberg, to be fair. And where is Hülkenberg? Back out after all that in 12th place. Alonso out just ahead of the 2 Mauritius. And they're going to be lapped quite quickly if they're not careful. But Rosberg now under the rear wing of Sebastian Vettel. Doesn't stay in the slipstream and therefore doesn't speed up onto the back of him. But I think Vettel's going to come into the pits. Yes, he does. Unchallenged. That's probably the best way how that could have worked for him. Also in Sergio Perez having a great race in that Force India. And there's Vettel back out 5th position just behind his teammate. Kvyat goes through. Perez out just ahead of Button and teammate Bottas on the hard tyres, and that's the difference really. soft versus hard tyres. That's worked out beautifully for Perez versus... sorry, the Williams of Bottas. They're not teammates at all. Shut up, Simon. Ericsson being double truffle shuffled out the way by the Toro Rosso duo. Grosjean just smashing the poor Sauber out of it. Marcus Ericsson is just going to have to say, actually, Romain hit me, not Marcus Ericsson hit us. Into the pits comes the damaged Sainz and Ericsson, and that actually could work out quite nicely for Carlos because that means that he can just go to the end. Someone's got off wide. It was a lapped runner. It was Roberto Merri as Daniel Ricciardo pops a move on Sergio Perez, and that is for position. Both have pitted. That is currently for 6th and 7th. It's going on up front. Rosberg and Hamilton both yet to pit. 3 seconds apart, and here comes Vettel. What was that? I love the AI sometimes in this game. It does something so stupid. You go, what? But yeah, up into second now goes Vettel. He's got 2 seconds over Rosberg. There's a Maldonado and Ericsson between them. So might need new trousers after this. Nope, we're fine. Vettel's past one. I think he's going to get the other one down the straight. Unless he decides to... Oh, he nearly did. Decides to ram into the back of him. Rosberg coming up to lap the Toro Rosso of Verstappen. Doesn't quite get it there. His tyres will be knackered though. That's the thing. And although Verstappen will be getting blue flags to try and move out of the way, they're kind of hurting each other's races, really. Look at the speed of which Sebastian Vettel is claiming over Rosberg. And there we are. Candy from a baby straight through. Oh, Rosberg tries to do an up and under. Didn't quite work. Vettel stays ahead. But yeah, they've used all of their boost already. Hamilton passed the two Saubers, but struggling himself. He's going to have Daniel Ricciardo, Sergio Perez, Felipe Massa, Danny Kvyat and Kimi Raikkonen all coming at him. And in fact, Hamilton might need to pit because he's that damaged. No, he continues on. That car looks very second-hand. I'm surprised he didn't come in for just a quick switch to softs and hopefully do something for it. Maybe he thinks the gap between himself and Ricciardo and co is big enough. I'm not sure it is. I'm also not sure Vettel's pulled away beautifully enough from Rosberg, but nope, they're going round. Vettel final lap for him. Rosberg's well ahead. Ricciardo smells a podium here to be stolen from Lewis Hamilton if he can do it. Laps NASA right the way around the outside of Lewis Hamilton. Again, another relatively simple and easy move so long as he can keep it on the track, which he does. Massa, Raikkonen's made up a few positions there, but I don't think he's going to get anyone else. But it's Sebastian Vettel that wins the day ahead of Nico Rosberg. Third on the podium becomes Daniel Ricciardo. Hamilton just holds off Felipe Massa. Kimi Raikkonen's next. Then it was Perez, Kvyat. Bottas is going to be ninth. He bailed out from his hard tyres for softs. Done him well as well. Then it was Hülkenberg. Button 11. Sainz is going to hold off Romain Grosjean. Then lapped down Verstappen, Alonso, Nasser, Ericsson, Maldonado, Will Stevens and Roberto Merri. Oh, and Verstappen. Well, I don't know quite what happened there, but he was deemed to be 2 laps down. So maybe he'd cut the track and was deemed to have missed a lap. I don't know where that happened. 0 points for Verstappen. Wow. Juicy Lucy. Stevens and Merri nearly lapped twice during that race. I said that they were going to be key. And it's double trouble up on top. Hamilton and Vettel equal on points. Raikkonen just behind. Rosberg getting himself into the mix. All to play for. The expected top 10, I would have thought, really, in terms of actual constructors. All kinds of mirrors itself quite nicely. Williams only just ahead of Force India at the moment. Red Bull kind of in no man's land. It's a third team. Mercedes catching up on Ferrari now. Toro Rosso with that kind of limp result lets McLaren and Lotus get away from them, and Sauber have crept up. All right, let's see what Yas Marina in 2022 looks like with a custom track. And it's done in the dark as well. Hats off to the creator of this. They've done a really good job. Some of the AI lines don't really take too much account of the curbing. Like that. Someone's done Massey track limits. But I think it looks really good. There's also, if they want to do it, they've kind of made all of the national versions of this in this as well, with all of the way how it kind of nips off onto the side. So they could do different versions of this if they felt the need to do so. Who's done well here again? Toro Rosso's not really poking themselves into the top 10. But Hamilton pokes himself up into pole position. And the two Ferraris get ahead of Rosberg. Perez doing good there, best of the rest in 5th. Of course, this is predominantly now a much faster circuit, so those with straight line speed advantages will do well. Hamilton on soft tyres, though, gets a cracking start and immediately gets a good advantage over the medium shod Ferraris. Rosberg in soft tyres has ground himself behind Kvyat in all of that. Perez on hard tyres, I think, could well find himself regretting that decision as they go into the tight chicane. Everyone made it through? Yes, they have. Nicely done. What are we doing further up here? Everyone's made their way around quite nicely. You can see the McLarens, or hear the McLarens, topping out on power. That's how much of a problem they have. But Hamilton leads the way nicely from Raikkonen, Vettel, Kvyat, Rosberg, Perez. Maldonado doing a good run up in 7th. That's Massa using his boost effectively to get round the equally hard shod Daniel Ricciardo. Bottas on medium tyres. Quite sure he'd fancy getting past his teammate quite quickly. Then it's Ericsson on softs doing a good job. Alonso about to take Felipe Nasr for mediums. Oh, no, he's not. Into the pits early comes Romain Grosjean, damaged in that Lotus. He's not the only one. Jenson Button's limping in too. So 2 bailing out early, and they've gone on to medium tyres again. They'll probably need a second stop with all of that. And look at that. Kvyat has got round both of the Ferraris, and Rosberg's about to get round Kvyat. No, he's not. Too tight on the exit of that corner. The Russian gets back through in the Red Bull, doing a sterling job, must be said. And again, faster than Daniel Ricciardo. Raikkonen having a look at Vettel. Those Ferraris are damaged though, and that's going to cause them problems. Vettel, I think, might bail out of his strategy early, totally on his own, and having a great run again. Sergio Perez has managed to avoid all this carnage. As Rosberg, is he going to get through Kvyat this time? No, look at the switchback that they're having to do. Rosberg goes all the way around the outside. That was a fantastic move by those. There's Vettel in. I thought he was damaged. I didn't think he was going to go in early and then go on to hards. That's going to be a hard strategy to sell as he's back out in 15th place. This is in a very long pit lane as well. Yes, I know it is mirrored somewhat differently compared to the actual real track, but there we go. You can see how long the pit lane is, because Hülkenberg's come out on soft tyres and he's behind both Stevens and Merry as they go through. Button last as well, about to be potentially lapped there by Hamilton quite quickly. So Raikkonen's broke free into second, then Kvyat is dragging Rosberg, and the totally undamaged Perez gets past Rosberg too, who again is just having a bit of a misfired run of things, whereas other cars and teams are having much easier runs of it. So it's Perez now up into 4th. And I was going to say, is Rosberg going to abandon it for the pits? Yes, he is. Mediums? No, hards. Okay. You do you, Nico. Where's he coming out in relation to Vettel? It's ahead. Just. Ooh. That was short, sharp shrift for Carlos Sainz. Yoink, out of the way he goes. And past Rosberg. Goes, Vettel there running out wide. A little bit of collision there with Alonso. I think that'll trigger Alonso to pit as well. Through goes Ricciardo, yet to pit. Yet to pit also Marcus Ericsson on soft tyres. He's having a strong run in that Sauber. Rosberg and Vettel take 1 million. Oh, that's not worked for him either. What are we doing up front? Hamilton really in a class of his own into the pits, along with Will Stevens abandoning his tired shod run early. That puts Sergio Perez into the lead of this race in the Force India. Of course he's going to need to pit, but this has been a very strong and dominant run by Perez in that Force India. Raikkonen medium tyres yet to pit, Kvyat medium tyres yet to pit behind him. So let's just enjoy seeing a Force India leading the way. I'd bail out of that potentially for mediums. Oh, Raikkonen's bailed out early. That could work out well. There's Hamilton on mediums. Really masterclassing it. Massa yet to pit on the hards. Now moves up into 4th. Ricciardo yet to pit in 5th. Really being shown up by his teammate and Roberto Merri, causing damage for all. And that looks like Raikkonen about to get back past Rosberg and Ricciardo as well. Kimi Raikkonen taking a long route round, but that is a beautiful run for him. And on soft tyres, 5th position. Now here's Kvyat in. He's gone a lap longer. Well, you can see the difference, can't you, of the undercut and how powerful that was. Poor Daniel Kvyat. He's now got an awful lot to do. More changes going on. That's Massa past Rosberg. And there's Perez into the pits. Soft tyres, I would imagine, going on at this Force India. Through goes Raikkonen into 2nd. Massa yet to pit into 3rd. Rosberg's into 4th. Ricciardo yet to pit into 5th. And Perez is out ahead of Vettel and Kvyat and on soft tyres. Needs to make light work of Daniel Ricciardo if he can. Yes, he does, as does Daniel Kvyat. No team orders in at Red Bull. Shock, horror at this stage of things. But yeah, that was real problems. Next up for them is to try and get round the limping Massa, who is not pitting again and stays out. Desperate for a 4th place by the looks of it. Hamilton 7 seconds clear. Oh Christ, what's going on there? Hülkenberg, Verstappen, Nasser. 3 into 1. Surprisingly does go. There was a bowl. There would have thrown car keys in it. But Hamilton's got so much over everyone else at the minute. Then it's Raikkonen, Rosberg. Perez is through, as is Kvyat and Massa. I think that's time to bail out now, Felipe. Indeed it is, and I think that's going to cause problems for him. Ricciardo's in as well. And that's allowed Vettel and Bottas out and away. Where's Marcus Ericsson in all of this? He's done a soft, and he's out. He's got round ahead of Daniel Ricciardo briefly for the time being, but that looks like it could well be a top 10 finish there for Ericsson in the Sauber. So great run for him. Merri ahead of Stevens. Carlos Sainz not quite sure what he wanted to do there. Just giving Lewis Hamilton a bit of a wave. He's still doing it. What's going on? It's not siesta time, Carlos. Clearly waiting for Lando to come and join him for a bromance. Raikkonen then easy 2nd, but I think Kvyat quite fancies that final podium slot. But Sergio Perez, ever a man that fancies a podium, would quite like it himself. Can he hold on to it though is another matter. Raikkonen is eating into Hamilton's lead as well. Kvyat yoinks it from Perez. Oh, not for long. Perez dives back through. Well done. That's going to be done at the line, I think. But Lewis Hamilton wins the Grand Prix. Dominant fashion from Kimi Raikkonen. Kvyat grabs 3rd ahead of Perez. Then it was Nico Rosberg. That looks like Vettel getting done by Ricciardo at the line. Bottas done a lot of them. Massa was ahead of them all, I think. Marcus Ericsson grabs 10. Then it was Hülkenberg, Alonso, Sainz, Grosjean. Maldonado, who was doing well early on, dropped back to 15th. Verstappen, Nasser, Button all on his own in 18th. Well off the pace with Merri and Stevens. So what does that do to our stand-ins? Hamilton then leading the way quite comfortably then from Raikkonen, Vettel, Kvyat, Rosberg and Ricciardo, your top 6. Perez best of the rest, just ahead of Bottas at the moment, with Massa and Hülkenberg behind, and Grosjean and Sainz on equal points. That strong result for Ericsson moves him up to 13th, ahead of the 2 McLarens and his teammate, alongside Pastor Maldonado as well. Verstappen yet to reach double digits. It's not been the start to the season he would have wanted. And Stevens currently ahead of Merry. And the constructors, all to play for up front. Mercedes now ahead of Ferrari with Red Bull trailing behind. Williams still in 4th, just ahead of Force India, and they're well clear now of Lotus, McLaren, Toro Rosso and Sauber on equal points. And Marussia pretty much destined for last. Let's take a trip to the Buddh International Circuit, shall we? I think we should. I really enjoyed driving this circuit in the F1 games. I'd love to see it come back. I don't think it was that popular with just general fans, but I thought it had some nice character to it. Like, interesting, like a grown-up go-kart circuit was how it felt like for me. And it looks like Kimi Raikkonen is loving life, going for what looks like pole position ahead of Rosberg, Vettel and Hamilton, down in 4th position. McLaren struggling alongside the Marussias, 4 seconds off the pace. Wow. Toro Rosso looking a little stronger there ahead of the Saubers. Interesting tyre strategies. Ricciardo the first one on soft tyres. He doesn't get the best start, but he gets a good launch out of that hairpin, and look at the way how all of the slipstreaming and boosts work as they go down the straights. Raikkonen retakes the lead from the hard-tyred Rosberg, who again I think might be absolutely mullered from a strategy perspective as Hamilton tries to go around the outside on the big long looping Buddh version of turn 8 of Istanbul, but Raikkonen's having none of it, retakes the lead. Vettel and Rosberg on hard tyres are quite fancying a go back through on Hamilton as well. Ooh, very tricky. Massa, Kvyat there, Ricciardo. Soft tyres, just not working for him. The 2 Marussias well off the pace. Also Merry on hard tyres, so that's going to be a long old lonely ride for him, I think, for both of those all season. Raikkonen leads the way though, Hamilton on mediums, Rosberg, Vettel, Massa, Kvyat, Perez, and again Daniel Ricciardo. What is going on with these soft-tyred runners? Well, specifically Ricciardo in the Red Bull, another pretty poor run of things. Under attack from Grosjean in the Lotus, but he's on hard tyres. Bottas on mediums gets through. Just not working out for Daniel Ricciardo this year. Oh, hello Jensen. Welcome to the party. Takes Marcus Ericsson for 12th. And quite a spread out field actually. I wasn't expecting that so early as Maldonado gets past Nazar. There's Alonso there as well. But lots of damage occurring for most of these cars. Hülkenberg though really quite damaged in that Force India. I could see him pitting early and getting out of his soft-tyred strategy onto something else quite quickly. Here comes Daniel Kvyat. And wow, Kimi Raikkonen, that was a terrible straight. Through goes both Mercedes and a Red Bull. Now Rosberg, hard tyres, he's looking quite feisty. Medium tyres last until lap 10, hard tyres last until lap 12, so they're both going to need to come in and sort things out quite early in comparison to other races with hard tyres on, as that's Vettel getting past Daniel Kvyat as well. Raikkonen, Massa, Hülkenberg, yeah, 5 to 8 laps. That's kind of almost saying you're going to need to go on hard tyres, or you might need to commit to a 2-stopper. Ooh, Force India. Perez not unknown to be clashing with a teammate, although it's normally by the name of Esteban Ocon. But Hülkenberg being absolutely given short shrift, and I think he'll be pitting at the end of this lap in that Force India. Yeah, he thought about it, didn't he? That AI line not looking the most smoothest. But I do appreciate all of these bonus tracks being made. It really keeps the community of this game alive. As Vettel gets through on Rosberg. That's key, because if we're playing Let's Battle the Hard-Tired cars, he's got the lead of that little train and he's closing down Hamilton, which makes me think, are the medium tyres starting to reach the end of their decent life? Oh, wow, Sebastian Vettel's just thrown that all away, hasn't he? Into the pits has come Nico Rosberg as well, getting rid of his hard tyres. He did look damaged, and I think Vettel now looks damaged enough to want to pit as well. Sometimes this works out quite nicely as Massa gets round Ricciardo. Those two have been squabbling. Yeah, Rosberg out all on his own. He's got a couple of seconds ahead of advantage. New fresh medium tyres. He's already damaged though, so something's gone on already with him. But maybe he's got enough clean air as he closes down on Felipe Massa. In comes Kimi Raikkonen. He's gone onto the hard tyres. Out behind Rosberg as well, so we'll see how that goes. Sainz and Verstappen, both in the top 10 for Toro Rosso. Verstappen gets ahead. Hard tyres, yet to pit. Same for Carlos, but he's on mediums. Daniel Ricciardo has pitted, back out in 11th. That now becomes 10th as he gets round Bottas, who makes a mistake. Into the pits, Danny Kvyat from what was 3rd position. Hamilton's got nearly 2 seconds, or nearly 3 seconds advantage now over Sebastian Vettel. That car looking a bit limp. It's more around what's Nico Rosberg doing, and has he been able to keep himself clean and fast? I'm not sure he has. Kimi Raikkonen, I think, could be the danger man here if he's able to perform a clean overtake. Well, there's the clean overtake. Commentator's curse is one thing, commentator predictions is another, and look at the speed that he's got over Vettel, and that is purely down to having damage on a car. Rosberg went through, Kvyat went through, there's Vettel out. He's out on soft tyres, which will be nice for him, but I don't think that's going to work too well. Perez is next. There's Ricciardo getting round the yet-to-pit Verstappen, who's in the lofty heights of 8th position. Considering he's only scored 8 points all season, that would be quite nice if he's able to hold on to something similar to that. Maldonado's not stopped either. He's only up to 11th though, so it's not worked out for him. Oh, Will Stevens mowing the grass. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Must have been punted off or something. But that has not helped him at all. It's put him into 14th position? What? Has he skipped a lap? There we go. Will Stevens breaking the time continuum. Oh, and whilst all that was going on, so much fun Will Stevens was providing. We missed Hamilton pitting. But Rosberg out in front, relatively decent tyres. So's Hamilton though. He's got much better tyres. They're going to be faster, but he needs to use them now if he's going to keep, well, going to attack and get that lead back again. Ricciardo in for a second stop. Maldonado's not been in for one yet. Neither's Max Verstappen, although I think he's in now. Oh no, it's Maldonado that's in now. Verstappen loses out to his teammate though. And into the pits, or out of the pits, sorry, comes Romain Grosjean, just ahead of Lewis Hamilton, now of the lead of the race. Rosberg second, Vettel third. What is Will Stevens doing? It's like he's not driving the track. It's bizarre. Oh well. There's Verstappen, who I think got tanked by Roberto Merri doing something potentially similar. Yeah, real problems for him. There is Alonso being lapped by Vettel and Hamilton. Maldonado in with all of that as well, as is Grosjean and Nasser. There's Stevens back into the pits for some more tyres. What's he going to do? we going to do something weird this time? No, I think we're okay. But it is Hamilton and Vettel then. The soft-tyred shod cars have gone to the head of the field. Coming up to lap Marcus Ericsson, and that slipstream for Vettel. Oh, again, that's the second time we've seen it on screen where he's just totally buggered up turn one and run up into the gravel. Hamilton's got round Ericsson, but look at how damaged his car is. Vettel's car is damaged too, but not nearly as much as Lewis Hamilton's. Who have they got next up the road? It's Max Verstappen, who's going quite slowly actually in that Toro Rosso. Something wrong with that car as well, I'm not sure. It was looking good for Verstappen. He's in 12th place, but look at the speed that Vettel just is able to creep on onto the back, and he does the same thing again, catches the outside of the corner, and this could well be the end of it for Vettel, because Hamilton had a little bit of boost, and now he's got Max Verstappen between him. He'll have Roberto Merri between them as well in a second, and I think that will be key to keeping Vettel behind. But look at how much quicker Vettel is around some of these corners. Is he going to do a last minute lunge? Yes he is, look at that. Ah, didn't quite work. Vettel loses out on the penultimate corner. Hamilton wins, Vettel second, Rosberg distant but well pointed third. Fourth will be Danny Kvyat, fifth Kimi Raikkonen, sixth will be Felipe Massa. Getting around Perez, Ricciardo only 8th, then Carlos Sainz a good 9th there in that Toro Rosso, Bottas 10, Hülkenberg, Verstappen, Ericsson, Maldonado, Button, Alonso, Nasser, Grosjean, Stevens and Merri. I don't know what happened with those two, but they skipped laps. And look, Will Stevens, fastest lap 26 seconds. Just that 6 seconds faster than everyone else. Never mind. So that was juicy for everyone up front. Good result for Verstappen, moves him ahead of Nasser. Carlos Sainz moves up to 11th with all of that. Rosberg now equal on points with Kvyat, but moves up into 4th due to placement of position. Hamilton already looking quite dominant up front. The other big changes there, Toro Rosso moving from equal 8th in the Constructors to 6th by leapfrogging Lotus, McLaren and Sauber. Now, let's reminisce on 1993 by going to Donington. Silverstone was closed this year. I do love racing around the Donington circuit, especially in a touring car or in a GT car, or when you're playing in like the baby junior open wheel formulas in like project cars or race room, even like Grid Legends, which I'm playing currently at the moment. But yeah, Rosberg, desperate to try and get his championship out on track, pops himself into a very persuasive pole position, only a quarter of a second clear of Vettel, nearly 4/10 clear from Lewis Hamilton, his teammate. No one else close. Ricciardo best of the Red Bulls. And it's Raikkonen on the soft tyres. Now hard tyres will get to nearly the end of this race, but Vettel on his soft tyres dives into the lead. Ferrari's going aggressive on the strategy and Raikkonen's up into second. The dream start for Ferrari then. Rosberg in hard tyres, as is Hamilton. Bottas there finally gets a good start. He's had terrible starts most of the season. But that's put the Finn in the Williams up into what is currently 4th. Ooh, just about holds off the two Red Bulls, but wasn't able to capitalise on Hamilton going out wide. And look, now they're swallowing up Rosberg, who gets chopped off by Lewis Hamilton. And the two Ferraris are too busy squabbling with each other to stop pulling away. And look, that's bringing Hamilton back into play. Oh dear, problems. Oh, that looked like a free wide going on down the middle of the field. That was Sainz, Alonso and Perez being absolutely mullered. Hard tyres for the Force India driver. It's not working out for him. as we continuously see, although Stevens is ahead of Merry, hard versus soft at the very back. Vettel leads then from Raikkonen. Hamilton's gone with them in the Mercedes, and I think he's going to have a go at second down at the hairpin, and he gets it. Oh, does he? There's a switchback. No, Hamilton keeps ahead. Then it's Kvyat, Bottas, Rosberg keeping ahead of Hockenheimring, doing well again in that Force India. They haven't half got some straight line speed of Force India and Williams. They lack on grip, but on circuits like this where you're able to go full throttle quite a bit, it's worked out quite nicely for them. Ericsson up into 9th for Sauber, again showing well, ahead of Danny Ricciardo, who is dropping back on hard tyres. It looked like such a good little opening lap or two for Ricciardo, but he's now down in 10th. Sainz has got ahead of Alonso. Oh, and that's Perez stuck in the pits, and into the pits he comes. He didn't really have anywhere else to go. So pits, medium tyres, repairs. That's going to bring him out. Long old pit lane, this one. Oh. Oh. Double oof going on. We'll have to watch this on the pit lane exit. I should test these tracks before I stick them in this type of stuff. I only tested Yas Marina. Massa and Hülkenberg battling away there. Rosberg down in 8th on the hard tyres. Again, it's not worked out, but it's also the just pure distance that they've fallen back as well is just huge. So Perez has got round Stevens and was ahead of Merry just about. But Vettel, his soft tyres starting to come to the end of their practical speedy life, just as they come round to lap the Marussia pair. And Hamilton says, thank you very much, and into the lead he goes. Hard tyres versus soft. Vettel trying to cut back through again, doesn't quite work. Is he going to bail out? No, he's not. He's going to hold on to it. Raikkonen, Kvyat, Bottas, Hülkenberg, Rosberg, Massa, Ricciardo. Then a gap back to Sainz, Button, Verstappen, Alonso. Grosjean, Ericsson's been into the pits early, back out in 16th. That might pay dividends later on, maybe. With Stevens and Merry well off. Vettel bails into the pits, bang on half distance, as does teammate Raikkonen. Through goes Bottas and Hülkenberg. But I think Vettel will get out ahead of... Oh, he does get out ahead of Rosberg initially, but that pit lane exit is far from ideal. And so, yeah, look at... I need more alcohol for this. Out comes Button into 13th, but that could work out quite nicely for Jensen actually by the time this is all finished, because it's just worked out nicely. Rosberg's in. Quite a gap back there from the Ferraris to Rosberg, isn't there? A good 5 odd seconds, which is about 20% of the lap. Here comes Grosjean. That car looks knackered. Yep, hard tyres, lots of damage. Maldonado looking damaged too. It's almost like we're reliving the art version of Lotus's damage bill. That's Ericsson being lapped. It's not translated quite as well as I'd thought it was for Marcus Ericsson after a good start. That through goes Fernando Alonso up into 14th. Yeah, Hamilton leading the way quite nicely from Kvyat. Then it's Vettel, Maldonado in for repairs. That's Raikkonen getting past Bottas. And that is for position, and Hülkenberg yet to pit on lap 12. Those tyres shouldn't be able to go to lap 16. I wonder if he's going to give it a go, because it's such a long pit stop here, but the lap is actually quite short. God, that looked like 6 wide into the hairpin going on. No, just the 4. No, Hülkenberg continues on for another lap. That's Kvyat in for a pit stop. That drops him down to 6th as Bottas goes through. Kvyat gets back out again. That's all okay. Rosberg now into 7th. Massa 8. Ricciardo 9 on soft tyres, but he's too far back. Sainz and Button 10 and 11. Ooh, what's happened to Lewis Hamilton? That car is knackered. And can Vettel do anything about it? Interesting. Hockenheimring continuing on. Popped a lap on Perez. Wow. Kvyat gets round Valtteri Bottas. And you have to say, actually, if this all just kind of chugs along, this has worked out nicely. And look, Hamilton's had to bail out. That's a disaster with 2 laps to go. Vettel then into the lead. Raikkonen second. Kvyat's going to be in third. Hülkenberg 4. Oh, gets sideswiped by Hamilton with the weird AI exit pit lane. And that could well damage Hülkenberg hugely. Though Hamilton just pushing him round. That's not how you overtake, son. There we go. Well done. 1 lap to go. I'll just go with it. Hülkenberg, Perez absolutely mullered as well as we enter into the final lap of the race. Rosberg, Bottas, Nasser trying to unlap himself. Real crazy stuff going on here. Mary's been in twice as well, but Sebastian Vettel is going to lead home a Ferrari 1-2 round the circuit of Donington. I think that was a good little addition, that one. Vettel wins, Raikkonen second. Kvyat's going to steal another podium. 3rd step again, but it's another one. Hamilton 4th. Rosberg 5. Oh, Bottas has pushed Hülkenberg into the pits. No! Massa goes through. Ricciardo goes through. Hülkenberg is going to be classified in 9 ahead of Carlos Sainz, then Button, Verstappen, Alonso, Nasser, Ericsson, Perez, Maldonado, Grosjean, Stevens and Merry. Lotus having a torrid race there. I don't know what happened to them. Perez there hugely damaged. The Sauber strategies didn't work out for them. Toro Rosso showing a bit more form as they get their season a bit more under their belt. But wow, being pushed out, pushed off and pushed into the pit lane was what happened there, unfortunately, for many of the drivers. So what does that do to the championship? It means that Vettel and Raikkonen start to eat in slightly to Lewis Hamilton's advantage. 130 points to 119 and 109. Kvyat and Rosberg crossing that 100-point mark very quickly. With Ricciardo only just ahead of Bottas and Massa. Perez and Hülkenberg, really. Ricciardo's season not getting off to the best of starts. Sainz best of the second half of the field ahead of Ericsson. The 2 McLarens way back. And the constructors, Ferrari, back ahead of Mercedes. 4 points between them. Red Bull clear of Williams, who are clear of Force India now. Toro Rosso moving ahead of McLaren. Lotus and Sauber now equal on points after Lotus's poor run. Well, Baku calling. God knows what this will be like. Again, another beautiful looking homemade track. You can download all of these on the Steam Workshop. They're very quick and simple and easy to do. And I'm recording this on the Sunday morning of the 2022 Baku Grand Prix. So, yeet. This is looking like another Rosberg pole about to happen. Can he convert though? He's not converted anything else so far this season. Yeah, Mercedes Ferrari. The 2 Williamses beating out the 2 Red Bulls. That doesn't surprise me because Williams have got very good straight line speed in this mod. Nasser popping up into the top 10. He's not had a particularly stellar standout performance yet this year. Could Baku be it for him? Hard tyres on the front row for Rosberg again. What are Mercedes doing with this poor man's strategies? It's not good. Look at Hamilton immediately going through as they thread their way through the very tight and twisty corners of Baku. You don't want to hit a barrier at all. Is everyone going to get through? Oh, they're smashing left, right and centre. This could be carnage. Look at Alonso's car. looks absolutely smashed up already. I could see people pitting at the end of lap 1 with this as they thread their way through very quickly indeed. And yeah, I can see someone pitting. I think it is Alonso in. Yes, it is. Look. So Hamilton well clear. Look at Daniel Ricciardo suddenly coming alive as he gets his soft-tyred car around. The soft tyres only lasting 6 to 10 laps. Then it's Rosberg, Raikkonen, Bottas, Massa, Vettel, Kvyat, Nasser in hard tyres in 9th. But that's a good gap there with Hülkenberg and Button all behind, because look at how damaged everyone is. Anyone pitting this time by? I don't think they are. But look, even Roberto Merri is able to get ahead of cars. He's on soft tyres, but he's beat out Maldonado, Ericsson, teammate Stevens. Alonso's pitted, gone onto the hard tyres. They only last till lap 11. So not huge advantages for many cars here with all of the different tyre strategies going on. Bottas, that car looks absolutely atrocious and knackered. He's into the pits very early on, as is Sebastian Vettel. This is working out beautifully for Felipe Nasr in the Sauber as he pulls onto the back of Felipe Massa. I almost miss commentators getting confused between those two. But again, Hamilton well clear. Ricciardo up into a very needed second place, and he's pulled clear from Rosberg, Raikkonen, Kvyat, Massa, Nasr. That is Max Verstappen getting past a very broken Nico Hülkenberg, but I could see both of those pitting at the end of this lap. Indeed, in they come. In comes Verstappen, in comes Hülkenberg. Bottas has pitted, and now he's into clear air. That'll work out nicely for him. Here comes Sebastian Vettel on the wounded Sergio Perez in the Force India. Candy from a baby. Next up for him will be Bottas. Max Verstappen has pitted as well, as is Hülkenberg. Will Stevens not pitted. 13th in the Marussia. Take a screenshot now, and it's not because he's skipped laps. As that is Felipe Massa into the pits. Again, another long pit lane. But he gets out just ahead of teammate Bottas, who goes into the wall there. That didn't work out very nicely, but he stopped the rotters, Felipe. There's Perez. He's been into the pits, got out ahead of Button. There's Stevens battling away with Fernando Alonso. Oh, into the wall goes Nando. And that won't help out Will Stevens one little bit. Crikey. Fernando just wants to push him out the way. And Maldonado is going to get round the pair of them on his soft tyres, and that has kind of ruined it a little bit there for Will Stevens, who is having some fun battling with other cars. Ericsson's been in twice to the pits. This is a terrible time for the Swede in the Sauber driver. Hamilton, now that he's lapping cars, is starting to pick up damage though as we hit half distance. Rosberg up into second, Raikkonen third, Ricciardo fourth, Felipe Nasr now in fifth. Being closed down by Massa, Vettel, Bottas. It's Rosberg popping a lap on Merri. Is this Hamilton into the pits now? He's got spraying out the back. Yes, he is. Oh, Will Stevens has had a torrid time as well. He's lost out with lots of damage. Through goes Merri. They all kind of get out just around Marcus Ericsson territory, who will want to get past them all. This is looking very busy. Look at the way Hamilton just threads his way through immediately onto the back of Ricciardo, who's trying to get Raikkonen out of the way. Raikkonen really, really damaged. And look, Daniel Ricciardo dives back through. He knows this is for the lead, but Hamilton back into it. That's worked out well. Rosberg's in the pits, by the way, and there they are going both past them. So it's Hamilton 1, Ricciardo 2, Rosberg 3, Massa now up into 4th, Raikkonen 5th, then it will be Felipe Nasr now in 6th, but look at how damaged he's suddenly become. Through goes Danny Kvyat, we've not seen him for a while. But yeah, Nasr now suddenly has gone from having an absolutely clean and beautiful race to a car that looks absolutely smashed up and is not even going as fast as a Marussia. So, the Sauber driver, he'll be in the pits this time around, I'm sure of it, as is Stevens again, Massa again, Ericsson for a third stop. This is absolutely a race of attrition, and we wouldn't have Baku any other way, would we? Round goes Hülkenberg. Felipe Nasr still doing well out in 11th. He can probably get to the end of that if he keeps it clean. Perez in the pits as well. There's Alonso and Sainz battling away. Daniel Ricciardo into the pits for a second stop from third place. That's key, because Lewis Hamilton wandering away all on his own. Rosberg is doing not so bad now in second. Raikkonen nice and undamaged in third. Kvyat 4. Ricciardo now 5th, but he's stopped twice. And he'll be closing down Kvyat, and he's going to have an awful lot of pace, but it's going to need to rely on other people running into trouble, I think, now for him to really get much further than that 4th position that he might be able to get as Maldonado and Alonso swap positions. That's because Alonso and Sainz are in the pits. Double Spaniards causing double trouble. I think that's Ericsson in again. 4th stop for Marcus Ericsson. He's on for 0 points, unfortunately. So up front, Lewis Hamilton 3 seconds clear from teammate Rosberg. He's got Perez and Button having a squabble ahead. And this was where people were running into trouble and getting damaged. It just depends on when you hit the traffic and how cleanly you can get around them. So damaged is Hamilton. That's Hülkenberg and Stevens in real trouble yet again, Will Stevens. It was going so well early on. That's now dropped him. Mary's in as well. And that's got on Ericsson off the hook. He was looking like a 0 point scorer there with his 4 stops. Might be able to survive a bit longer, but here's Hamilton. Rosberg is closing in, but it's okay for now. Raikkonen. Danny Kvyat. This is problematic. Look at how knackered that car is. Will he make it home? Alonso, Massa closing in. Bottas is in trouble there too. Vettel gets past Nasser for 8th and 9th place. Massa smashes into the barriers with Kvyat. And Alonso, if I were Kvyat, I would pit. Don't take the... Massa's being brave. Yep, Kvyat's in. Bottas stays out as well. There's a few drivers here who I think might not make it home. Raikkonen looks knackered as one of them, and so does Hamilton. Look at this as they all go for the line. Rosberg's closing in. He's closing in. Is he going to get him on the line? No! Hamilton just about holds it off from Rosberg. Raikkonen clings on to 3rd. Ricciardo does get 4th. That looks like Massa's going to get 5th in the end. Grosjean's conked out. Then it's Bottas. Or is it? No! Nasser gets 7th. What a great result for him. Kvyat 8. Bottas does get 9. Verstappen is 10. Then it's Perez, Hülkenberg, Button, Maldonado, Alonso, Sainz, Grosjean conked out in the pits. Then Ericsson with 4 pit stops. Merry and Stevens rounding out your finishing order. Wow. What a race. That's staying on the calendar. Just as nuts as the real Baku, isn't it? What other changes are going on? That's pushed Ricciardo slightly closer up the order. Nasser, the big winner there as well, moves up from 18th to 14th, or equal 13th with Verstappen. Maldonado scored more than Grosjean now as well. So Lotus really having a bit of a free fall, down to 9th in the standings at the moment, behind Sauber and McLaren. Toro Rosso starting to pull away a little bit as their season gave us some momentum. So let's go to Germany. And a traditional visit to the Hockenheim circuit. Again, Rosberg. Class of his own on his home Grand Prix. Vettel looking quite juicy in the Ferrari too. Might be able to snatch an all-German front row. Sauber not having good fun there. Locking out row 9 of the grid. But no, it's not 2 German drivers. It's two German-made cars on the front row with the Mercedes. Vettel in third, Ricciardo four, looking like he's starting to wake up a wee bit. I generally find with this game, if someone has like a really, really strong result, they normally then have a torrid one the next time round as if to make up for it, as Ricciardo dives into the lead. Oh, then runs out wide and through goes Vettel and Hamilton. Perez looking handy on the soft tyres too. But you need to run with the soft tyres whilst it shines. The Saubers have both been off the track. They've dropped down to the back of the field. Not sure what happened there. That must have been a turn 2 incident. So it's Hamilton, Rosberg, Ricciardo, Vettel, Raikkonen, Perez, Kvyat. Hülkenberg gets round Bottas and Massa's there too on the soft tyres. Quite a few soft tyred runners looking like they mean business, but it is Hamilton that is leading the way. Laps 7 to 11 these tyres will take, as Ricciardo, that was a opportunistic switchback. The beauty of this circuit and the way how this has been laid out in this game is just how much you can run side by side. That's pretty much half the lap that took for Ricciardo to get past. Didn't clip the cars this time, so that pushes Ricciardo up into second, Rosberg down to third, then it's Raikkonen, Vettel with some damage there. The Force India's battling with Kvyat's Red Bull. Again, more damage to play with. The Williams is struggling slightly. This is a bit more of a skiddy circuit, so Williams is not running quite so well. There's the Saubers going either side of Will Stevens to try and get past the Marussia, and indeed they do so. It looks like it's going to be a low score for Sauber this time around. Hamilton and Ricciardo pulling away from Rosberg, and Raikkonen gets through up into third place. The two soft-tyred shod runners are going to need to pull a gap whilst they can, because those tyres are going to start not being the optimum one in a minute. Kvyat, is that going to be him getting past Perez? Does he run out wide? No, he doesn't. He just about swings and holds onto it. Rosberg back ahead of Raikkonen in the battle for third. The Williamses can't leave their hands off each other. Bumper to bumper, tyre to tyre. And at the moment, Felipe ahead of Valtteri. Different tyred compounds though. Lotus not really doing great things either, it must be said, towards the back end. 15 and 16. Hard tyred runners again though, so they're looking at the long game. Raikkonen lost out to Rosberg, now almost losing out to his teammate Sebastian Vettel. Medium tyres, the pair of them. The more they squabble, the more this plays into Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo's hands. But Ricciardo's got to be careful. Oh, well, wasn't careful enough there coming out of the corner, but that's going to allow Rosberg the chance to go round the outside at the hairpin. Great move from the German driver up into second place, but the Aussie not having any of it, trying to get back through again. If you can make it to lap 8, that's a straight swap from soft to soft, potentially for Danny Rick. Desperate for a podium, but you can see where the tyres are now falling off out the exit of turn 2. Everyone now just clipping the grass because they can't hold on to it grip-wise any longer. In the pits then, Carlos Sainz and Felipe Massa bang on half distance. They come out in 16th and 17th positions. Also in Marcus Ericsson in the Sauber. There's Hamilton in, as they pop a lap on Will Stevens, who I think was having a misadventure. Ericsson comes out in between the Ferraris, gets pushed off by Vettel, who quite fancies his run through. He's popping a lap on Will Stevens as well. It is Rosberg that leads the way, 2.75 seconds. Merry getting well out of the way nicely there. Vettel and Raikkonen looking more damaged than Rosberg though. And there is Hamilton. Such is the goodness of having these types of tyres. Raikkonen and Vettel looking a little bit like they're about to be eaten up for dinner. Through goes Hamilton and Vettel. And yep, there's lap traffic, but look at the difference. Hamilton straight up into second place. Rosberg looks like he's a sitting duck. He's into the pits, he's bailing out early. And look, that's Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull getting past Vettel as well. He's passed Rosberg too. So Rosberg's got a couple of laps extra tyre grip. But if Ricciardo can go around the outside of Kimi Räikkönen, and indeed he does, Hamilton and Ricciardo have gone back up into 1 and 2, and the others haven't even made their pit stops yet. That's crazy stuff. Further back there, Fernando Alonso up into 8th and yet to stop in the McLaren. He's not been that high all season long, so let's celebrate that for the Spaniard. Perez, Massa, Bottas, Sainz, all looking like they're going to mug him as he pops into the pits though. Oh, and someone's off. Oh, it's Vettel. He's taken off Roberto Merri. The two of them off onto the gravel, and that's really caused problems for Vettel. He's lost so much time. A good 5 seconds or so, because look, he was battling with Raikkonen. He's got the whole stadium section pretty much now to catch up on. He battles with Perez, who's a very damaged Force India. Up front, Hamilton 1.7 seconds, 1.9 seconds clear now of Daniel Ricciardo. Into the pits comes Merri. Rosberg next, then Raikkonen, Kvyat, Hülkenberg up into 6th. He's been sly in all of that. Vettel, Perez, who I think might... I don't know if he'd pit with that or not. He's right on the cusp, isn't he, really? I think he might stay out and see if he can hold on. Then it's Bottas, Massa, Sainz, Verstappen, 11 and 12. There's Alonso trying to come back at him. It's been a good run there for Alonso early on. I think he might be able to get Verstappen, but look at the difference in power. He has to use all of his boost down the straight to try and get close, and then use his superior driver skill and grip in that McLaren to try and get through. It's not really worked. Button just behind. Grosjean, Nasser, Maldonado is not even pitted yet, and he's down in 17th, so that's not going to work as a strategy for him. Stevens and Merri behind. And hello, Nico Rosberg. Where's this come from? This is this tyre life. He's got round Daniel Ricciardo. Has stopping late for tyres going to mean that Nico Rosberg gets a historic home victory on German soil for a German team as a German driver? Will Stevens gets out of the way, and I think that might just save Lewis Hamilton as they come out of the final corner. Indeed it does. Lewis Hamilton leads home a 1-2 for Mercedes. Rosberg second. Daniel Ricciardo finally on the podium with 3rd position. Then it's Kimi Räikkönen, Daniel Kvyat. Vettel just nips past Hülkenberg in the stadium section for 6 and 7. Then it's Bottas. Perez held on for 9. Massa's going to get 10, or is he? No! Fernando Alonso grabs his top 10 ahead of Massa, Verstappen, Button. Sainz dropped off horribly at the last couple of laps there to end up 14th. He was 11th a few before then. Nasser got ahead of the two Lotai. Then it's Ericsson ahead of Merri and Stevens. Hamilton well clear, isn't he? The Ferraris equal on points behind. Rosberg closing them down. I think the battle for second's the juicy one. Ricciardo leapfrogs up to start closing down Daniel Kvyat in the battle for 5 and 6. The Williamses are approaching the 100-point mark. Perez and Hülkenberg not too far behind, and then you kind of think maybe Carlos Sainz might hit the 100-point mark by the end. I don't know if anyone else will. And this is starting to look good for Mercedes and the constructors, but a couple of bad results will swing that around quite rapidly. Williams now definitely clear of Force India. Toro Rosso still clear of McLaren, but that's quite close. Sauber and Lotus having their own little squabble. Marussia, of course, just towards the back. We're off to Hungary, and this one is quite corner heavy. So expect the Ferraris and the Mercedes to be challenged just as much by the Red Bulls, I'd imagine, as they spin their way around all of these different twisty and turny corners. Who's going to get it? It looks like another Rosberg pole. Cool. Nice one. Rosberg and Vettel, German front row. Then Hamilton, Nico Hülkenberg in 4th place. Pardon. Don't know how that happened for Force India, but well done. And Raikkonen, the Williams is ahead of the Red Bulls. I thought the Red Bulls were going to do very well here. Very close on the grid though compared to most other races. So tight field. Verstappen in the top 10. Maldonado doing well for Lotus in 11. Oh, look at this. Rosberg on mediums, Vettel on softs as they all tentatively make their way around turn 1s and 2s and 3s, but it's Vettel into the lead currently ahead of Rosberg. Hamilton on hard tyres, and is Hockenheimring. I think they might become a little bit of a bottleneck whilst they get themselves up and running, but everyone's too busy smashing into each other to really cause much of a problem. Vettel though, under attack from Raikkonen, he's going to go around the outside. Raikkonen takes the lead. Wow, where did that pace come from? Vettel now tries to go back into the lead round the outside, does so successfully. It's really difficult to know where to use the boost on this circuit because you're always in a corner. Look at Rosberg using his boost there to good effect. Trying to do it in the penultimate corner, but again loses out. Vettel then, Raikkonen. Rosberg tries to go around the outside, gets the inside for the next corner, takes one place, nearly had two, but wasn't able to do so. But they're starting to hit each other and cause damage, which is problems. Massa running out very wide there, loses 2 positions. Nasser in a bit of trouble there too. Verstappen, Perez and Ericsson have all pitted, and they've all come out with hard, soft and soft tyres, so different strategies running towards the back of the field there. Vettel leads the way though. Raikkonen and Rosberg squabbling away on medium tyres. This is helping Vettel a little bit. It's also helping Daniel Kvyat in the soft tyres. And most importantly, Lewis Hamilton on hards has just clinged on to the back. Carlos Sainz finds himself in a good 6th position ahead of Alonso on mediums, who's also quite undamaged. That's damaged Daniel Ricciardo. Is he going to pit? Yep, he's in. As is Pastor Maldonado in the Lotus, and teammate Grosjean as well. So early stoppers. Roberto Merri into 13th place as Nico Hülkenberg gets around him. Trying to hold off. Oh, can't do it. Through goes Perez, through goes Verstappen. Maldonado must be really annoyed with that. And to be fair, he's pretty much damaged Merri so that he now has to come in for repairs as well. So problems all round for the Marussia driver who now does pit. Vettel leads the way still, but those medium shod tyres, and now Hamilton, who's got round Kvyat, quite fancies, I think, having a go at everyone else up front. And those hard tyres can go to the end on this circuit as Raikkonen pits. Back out again. That's Alonso getting around Jenson Button. Neither McLaren have stopped. This is a good showing from the McLaren duo. This was, because they're so power poor, probably going to be one of their best attempts of a run at something. So it's good to see that the McLarens are doing well. 6th and now 8th as Massa goes through. Bottas, Ricciardo and Sainz all fancying a run through as well. Hamilton though, into the lead with Rosberg having pitted. Vettel damaged. I think he'll be in at the end of this lap. I would be if I was him. Look at the McLarens desperately trying to stop Massa getting through. Good gamesmanship. As in comes Vettel and Kvyat. That releases Kimi Raikkonen, who has pitted, and Nico Rosberg, who has also pitted too, to try and close up on Lewis Hamilton. Now, the cars will be faster, and you can see it happening already. They're eating into Hamilton's lead. Would Hamilton pit early, get off hard tyres, or is he going to try and get to the end of the race? Hülkenberg on hard tyres gets round Ricciardo. Button still yet to pit. As Verstappen, Massa, Alonso has pitted, come back out on soft tyres and already looks damaged quite horrifically, so that's not worked out well for him. Perez has pitted for a second time. He's busy getting back round the Mauritius, as Hamilton, yet to pit at all, about to lap the lot of them. He stays out. Rosberg now just a second off the back of them. As Perez pops a move on Marcus Ericsson. Hamilton laps Merri, about to lap Stevens. Here comes Nico. This is looking good. Oh, Hamilton blocked by Marcus Ericsson. Rosberg trying to find his way through too. Smashes his way through the pair. It's like a running the gauntlet episode as he smashes his way past all the other cars. And look at Kimi Räikkönen. He fancies a go at Hamilton too. In fact, Hamilton's now that damaged. I think he might pit for soft tyres. There's no point trying to get to the end. It's just too argy-bargy as they lap different cars. I said those Marussias would be a problem this season, and they definitely are, because that's going to allow Daniel Kvyat, who is pretty much undamaged, to get through and go again. Hamilton, no, he's trying to continue on. I think, I don't know if that's a good move. Hülkenberg up to 6th, Ricciardo now 7, Massa 8. That's the two Toro Rossos, 9th and 10th. That would be a good run for them if they can hold that off, although Bottas is closing in, as is Alonso. Button's in trouble, and that's because they're all being lapped and having to get out of the way for Rosberg and co. They're trying to get round the limping Pastor Maldonado. Very damaged, that lot. Especially Romain Grosjean. What's happened to him is he's trying to get... Oh, Nasser and Maldonado off the track. I think we're going to see both Lotay into the pits for repairs, and Felipe Nasser as well. No! Round and round they go. Massa and Bottas have both been in for a second stop. Ericsson looks knackered as well. He's last at the minute. But there is Nico Rosberg leading the way. Kvyat now into second. Then it's Raikkonen and Vettel. Hamilton still hasn't pitted. And he's playing with fire a little bit there. But okay. Final lap then. As Alonso and Verstappen go head-to-head for 11th and 12th. And I think that's been a swap from the Ferraris. Yeah, that was past Raikkonen. But this has been a while coming for Nico Rosberg. But it's going to be a nice and commanding win from strategy and tidiness, just as much as anything else, to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. Kvyat comes home second. Vettel will grab third ahead of Raikkonen. Hamilton, despite all that damage, ends up 5th on a no-stop. Then it's Hülkenberg, Felipe Massa, Daniel Ricciardo damaged. Bottas, Carlos Sainz grabs a top 10 finish ahead of Verstappen, Alonso. Then it's going to be Button. Perez recovers to 14th ahead of Nasser, Maldonado and Grosjean. Merry, Stevens and Marcus Ericsson. Well, he nearly didn't score with 4 stops at Baku. He certainly didn't score with plenty of stops and drama at Hungary. 6 apiece down at Marussia in the battle for the wooden spoon. Ericsson, after doing well early on in the season, has slumped to 18th now, allowing the 2 Lotus drivers to outscore him. Carlos Sainz certainly best of the second half of the midfield as both Williamses go over the centennial mark. And they're not too far behind Daniel Ricciardo, who's just not had a season, has he? Rosberg currently ahead of Vettel and Raikkonen, courtesy of that win. Mercedes pull clear of Ferrari, well clear of Red Bull, well clear of Williams. Everything else behind 6th down to 9th. I think those positions very undecided. Let's go to Russia, shall we? I detest this track in real life, but I'm just let's give it some love in the game itself, because it's a bit more playable in the game. And again, master of quali, Nico Rosberg loves a pole position. And he gets it. Nicely done. Ooh, Alonso 18. No one will love that. Rosberg does get pole just from Vettel. Hamilton. Williams is doing well, 4th and 5th. And it's soft tyres then for Rosberg and Vettel, which could well lead them on to a good result, because look at how quickly they've got ahead. Bottas moves ahead of Hamilton for the time being. And look at the squabbling that's going on behind this as they all battle around Raikkonen's hard-tyred Ferrari. Everyone else has kind of swapped out ahead. Kvyat there getting around the outside of Raikkonen. Perez damaged, Massa's damaged, and really lost out there by being pincered by a couple of drivers. Grosjean there in trouble, just getting himself back past Will Stevens for 18th. But yeah, it's who can get past Kimi Raikkonen, who's dropping so quickly down to now 8th position. He tries to fight back on Daniel Ricciardo, can't do it. Sainz and Hülkenberg battling off Massa, Ericsson and hard tyres. Clinging onto the back of the midfield, having a go at his teammate, but hard tyres not looking the best of routes at the moment. Vettel, Rosberg, Kvyat lead the way. And into the pits for an early stop. Sergio Perez on soft tyres, that car looking very damaged. What does he go on to? Mediums, okay. He's back out ahead of Grosjean. Vettel, well clear in that Ferrari. He would love a win. And the Black Sea. Rosberg and Kvyat keeping a brief. Then it's Hamilton. A huge gap though back to the Williams duo. Massa looking very damaged. Raikkonen now looking under control in those hard tyres, and I think he's going to make light work of Felipe. Indeed he does. Next up for him will be Bottas, then it's Ricciardo, Sainz and Verstappen, Hülkenberg, Nasser, Ericsson and Button. As into the pits comes Daniel Ricciardo. I was going to say that Red Bull looked damaged. Let's put him onto soft tyres. They're going to conk out before the end, I would have thought, but we'll see how he gets on. He's got a bit of clear air in ahead of him before he starts hitting other cars. That might enable him to do something. Vettel though, up front leading the way. Rosberg's under attack. And that's Lewis Hamilton through and up into second. We're now at the point where the soft tyres are not the preferred option, the mediums are. And if you're on the hard tyres, that's even better, as Kimi Raikkonen is moved up into 5th ahead of Bottas and Massa now. Soft tyres go round again. We're now at half distance, so you could pit and go onto softs again quite happily if you wanted to, because you've kind of survived. Verstappen up in 9th, about to lose it though, I think, as Nico Hülkenberg slides through. Jenson Button, hard tyres in 11th. I wonder if he fancies trying to get to the end on those. Ricciardo, soft tyres, battling Nasser on mediums. That shouldn't be a battle Ricciardo should be having though. Maldonado having a torrid time in that Lotus this race. Alonso has pitted, he's on mediums, about to pop himself past Will Stevens, but they're locked together with Rosberg, who's really lost out time there. Into the pits comes the soft-tyred Vettel and Rosberg though. Maldonado's in there too, as is Daniel Kvyat from what was 4th position. Or 5th, sorry, I think. After Raikkonen got through, Vettel straight back out, right behind teammate Kimi, who has yet to pit, doesn't hold him up. Through goes the German. Next up for him, 2.7 or 3 seconds up the row, Lewis Hamilton was just being absolutely mauled by Fernando Alonso. Their 2007 blood war, clearly running strong. Yeah, no, Nando's not having any of it, and into the pits has to come Lewis Hamilton, potentially a bit early, although Kimi Raikkonen's in with his hard tyres as well. That's going to put Vettel into the lead, Rosberg up into second, and they're going to try and make light work of this Alonso-Grosjean battle, of which he does. Next up is Verstappen and Perez having a squabble. Perez again, yeah, Perez in real trouble. I think he'll pit for repairs. Yes, he does. And Vettel, ooh, that's not worked out for him. Rosberg into the lead. He had a good 1.5 seconds advantage before all of this kicked off with pit stops. Now he's behind his Mercedes driving German compatriot. Looking busy on the old lapping chart. Look, Vettel stuck behind Roberto Merri. Very close. Hamilton closing them down. Then it's Kvyat, Raikkonen, Massa, Ricciardo, Bottas, Sainz and Hülkenberg switching positions. Looks like Hülkenberg's got back past the Toro Rosso for 9th and 10th. Button has not pitted and is now in 11th and quite clean on his own in 11th, to be fair. Ericsson looks like he's got damage. Not as much damage as Nasser, though, who's into the pits. That's not going to work out well for him. That might give Maldonado an extra point. Vettel back ahead of Rosberg, though. That was all traffic dependent. Look at Button. He's in real trouble now with damage. Ooh, Stevens and Button there off the track and out the way. Button and Ericsson trying to do a zero stopper. It kind of has worked for Button, although it hasn't, as Verstappen gets through, and I think he's going to lose a few positions all at once with that last drama. But, wow, Vettel, he looked like he'd lost it. He got it back in the traffic at the end. Win for Ferrari and Sebastian Vettel around the Russian Grand Prix. Rosberg grabs second. Hamilton recovers to third. Raikkonen beats home Kvyat just about. Then it's Massa, Bottas, Ricciardo. Sainz gets back ahead of Hülkenberg there. Then it's Verstappen, Grosjean, Button there with huge damage, although Button crossed the line ahead of Grosjean before that happened. Perez, Nasser, Ericsson, Alonso, Maldonado, Stevens and Merri. Did it take that into account? No, it just kept going until the timer ran out, so Grosjean was classified ahead of Button. Okay, good to know. So Hülkenberg crosses the 100-point mark. Perez should do it next time around. Hamilton 27 points clear of Vettel. It's not like done, but it's a comfortable margin, isn't it? Rosberg and Raikkonen still in contention too. You'd have to kind of say Kvyat not, Ricciardo not. Ricciardo's got to be careful because those Williamses are snapping at his heels somewhat. Sauber just ahead of Lotus, but pitting for repairs towards the end for Nasser and Ericsson. Kind of compromised their run there. And McLaren have now become detached from the Toro Rosso team a little bit, but still got enough of a gap over Sauber. What's next? We're off to Mexico. Love this circuit so very much. I'm terrible at driving it, but I find it really, really just fun to drive. It's like a squiggly snake. And it looks like, are we going to get another Rosberg pole? Maybe I should have said, this should have been a drinking game. Shots for pole for Rosberg. Because he's got another one and that's worked out very nicely. Vettel, then Hamilton and Raikkonen, Ricciardo best of the rest. Sainz in the top 10 again. And Verstappen, not a good quali again. He's got it all to do from the back. Rosberg soft tyres. I think he's learnt his strategy lesson. But Hamilton on mediums, as is Vettel. But that's a good start there from Rosberg. Can he contain that? Bottas and Raikkonen on hard tyres and Kvyat as well. That could provide a little bottleneck. Although Bottas getting past Hamilton. Williams fancying a good move, although Bottas then makes a mistake and that's going to allow Hamilton to have a go back through, is it? No. Ooh, well off the track. Lots of interesting corner cuts going on. Maldonado, last place on hard tyres. He's clearly been off the track somewhere. But Rosberg leads the way. These soft tyres work quite nicely, but pretty much everyone could potentially go to the end on their tyres because this is the fun with Mexico. So you need to stay clean and you need to think about how you're going to attack things unlike what Pastor Maldonado's done on those hard tyres, because they will last till the end of the race if you want them to, but they are slow, as you can see. Rosberg leads, Vettel, Hamilton, Bottas and Raikkonen having a squabble. Battle of the Finns, the fourth and fifth. Then it's Ricciardo and the mediums, and that looks good for Ricciardo, having a go at Raikkonen, is he? Not quite. Hockenheimring doing a good job in the Force India. Sainz up there in 9th. Grosjean top 10 for Lotus. No real big peaks for Lotus so far this year. It's been a bit of a damp squib. There's Massa on the hard tyres holding up Perez and Grosjean. Button ahead of Ericsson and Nasser. Alonso holding Verstappen at bay. Maldonado now ahead of those. Ooh, Rosberg off the track. They're all off the track. Pretty much. Trying to get through these turns. Interesting. Are we going to end up having issues with people as the tyres get worse? Track limits and problems like that holding up people. So we've got our first pitter. That is Daniel Ricciardo going onto the soft tyres. Now he's popped back out again, down in 17th position, but with fresh tyres, he might be able to make some real moves getting up the order. Already passed 3 cars already, so he's clearly making the effort. Hamilton and Vettel closing down on Rosberg, but still holding off Ricciardo and Massa, because you're all kind of just snaking your way around for the best. And there is Daniel Ricciardo. Again, he's got a little bit of damage, but he's up to 13th already. These fresh tyres could well do him good. Just look at the way he's able to just snuffle onto the back. That's Merry holding up Grosjean and Button. They're trying to lap the Marussia. Through goes Ricciardo on Grosjean. Laps Merry. Next up, so that's Will Stevens in for a pit stop as well. Yeah, just look at the way how they're all trying to snake themselves around. I think Ricciardo could have a real good run at this. Rosberg's only just ahead of Vettel though, up the road. Something's gone on there. Oh, and Vettel's gone off, I think, because through's gone Hamilton and Rosberg. Raikkonen's there too. They've just lapped Maldonado. I wonder if that's the reason why. Next up for them is Ericsson. They're all trying to not pit. Has Daniel Ricciardo suddenly got himself into 6th? Yes, he has. Look. Well, that just shows how much worth pitting has been for them. It really has been worth it. So Hamilton now leads the way on the mediums. Vettel down to 2nd. Then it's Raikkonen, Rosberg on those soft tyres. It was looking good, but he needed to pit. And he's not pitted, and that's gone horribly wrong. There's Ricciardo now up into 5th place, doing a really good job for that Red Bull team. Needed the result, really. Then it's Kvyat, Massa, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Nasser in 11th, doing a good job. Button, Perez, Grosjean. The two Marussias have pitted, interestingly, as that's Ericsson in trouble. And they're closing back down on the Sauber of Ericsson, who's struggling. There could be points for both of those cars by the end of this, as Hamilton starts his last lap. Vettel fancies it though, doesn't he? Oh, he got it wrong! Got it horribly wrong. Kimi Raikkonen sneaks through up into 2nd place. Hamilton blocking both Ferraris. Can he make it round? I think he can. To hold on and win. Kimi's going to try and go for a speedy run around the outside. Is he going to get him on the line? Yes, he is! I think Kimi Raikkonen got the win. Oh my goodness me. Raikkonen from Hamilton and Vettel, I think. Ricciardo got 4th ahead of Rosberg. Well, that shows that stopping really should have happened. Then it was Bottas, Kvyat, Massa, Hülkenberg, Nasser in the top 10. Then Sainz, Button, Perez, Verstappen, Alonso, Grosjean, Maldonado. Ericsson just holding off Merry and Stevens, I think. 3, 2, 1, just. And I mean just. Wow. 0.02 of a second. Raikkonen wins the race. So that now puts 30 points between Hamilton and Vettel. That's exactly 1 win. So this can be wrapped up now 1 round early, potentially. Massa moves back ahead of Bottas. Daniel Ricciardo puts a little bit of air between himself and the Williamses after that strong run to 4th position. Perez over the 100-point mark. And now, yeah, Sauber have reached over the 100-point mark themselves, so good run for them. Malaysia is up next. Much missed from the calendar. One of Herman Tilke's best tracks. Oh, what happened to Rosberg there? Unless that was just everyone using their boost, because Rosberg's kept some. Are we not going to get a Rosberg pole? I beg your pardon. What travesty is this? We watch the various Hamilton, Raikkonen, Verstappen, Vettel making their way through. Rosberg's kind of caught back up again, but I don't think it's going to be a Nico Rosberg pole. I think it might be a Hamilton or Vettel one. They crossed the line together. Who started their lap first? Hamilton, so Vettel gets the pole. Red Bull's 5-6, Williams 7-8. Nasser, another good run in the Sauber for a top 10 start. Both Saubers doing relatively well there. And well, 3 out of the top 4 starting on hard tyres. They will need to pit. The tyres don't go all the way here at Malaysia, but Hamilton streaks into the lead on his mediums. Kvyat trying to find his way past the hard-shod Ferraris and Rosberg. Ricciardo's also hard-shod too. And you can see they're all playing away. And it's just the lone soft-shod Bottas who's going to try and go round the outside of everyone into 2nd place if he can get that working. Doesn't quite happen, but he's going to potentially get 3rd. Oh no, Rosberg and Raikkonen trying to see desperately that does not happen. Rosberg gets them back. Slightly damaged though is Rosberg and his Bottas as he gets chopped off by the Ferrari duo, and that's allowing Daniel Ricciardo to get him involved and up past ex-teammate Seb Vettel. Oh, rams Raikkonen. He's popped himself up into 4th position for the time being. Rosberg and Raikkonen go squabble squabble. Kvyat, Massa, Alonso going well in the McLaren up into 9th. Soft shod tyres, but that could work quite nicely if he's able to get to lap 8 and then stop and switchy-woo over. Doing that simple 8 and 8 is usually the best strategy in this game, I've noticed, with the setup that we've done. But Raikkonen having to pit for repairs at the end of lap 3 onto lap 4 for hard tyres. Yep. Puts on another set of hards, comes back out again just ahead of the Nasser, Verstappen and Hülkenberg squabble. He'll be diving himself back up that field quite quickly, I think. Hamilton, though, leads the way. Those hard-tired runners have not dropped off, though. Ricciardo battling with Bottas still. I think Bottas would quite like that 4th place. Daniel Ricciardo says no. Thank you very much. Vettel and Rosberg still squabbling at it. All this is doing is helping Lewis Hamilton, who is not damaged. Where does this all come from? This is the thing that confuses me with this game just in general. Like, you just see the AI have like crazy banzai moments of laps where they gain like 2 seconds from nowhere. I love this game, but that kind of always makes me scratch my head. Okay, we've got pitters. It's Nico Hülkenberg and Fernando Alonso, who's also damaged. That's going to ruin his strategy. He's going to try and go soft again. I don't think that's going to work. Ooh, side by side for Ericsson and Raikkonen, who's had to pit for a 3rd stop. Didn't spot that. Kimi Raikkonen out in last. That's going to ruin his... Well, that's ruined his championship chances, really, hasn't it? He's got past the Mauritius and Ericsson very quickly. But that's not very many points as Rosberg takes the lead on the hard tyres from Lewis Hamilton, but that car is damaged. I would want to pit that car and probably get him on the soft tyres. As into the pits comes Verstappen. But round they go again. Vettel's going to get interested in all of that. Ricciardo's doing a fine job in 4th ahead of Bottas and Kvyat. Then it's Massa, Perez and Sainz kind of on their own there. Grosjean, Hülkenberg pitted. He's on soft tyres. That could work out not too bad if he can look after them. Then it's Maldonado, Alonso, Button in for repairs. Through goes Raikkonen, Nasser and Verstappen. Button back out in 17th. Phil Stevens in. That removes him from the leaders who are battling into turn 1. Vettel versus Hamilton. Ooh, Hamilton sticks ahead for now. I think Vettel's got the tyre life on those hard tyres, but he's also the most damaged, so I wonder if he's actually going to end up, if he does get round Hamilton here, coming straight into the pits. I would get myself on the soft tyres personally, but they both go round again. Doing the old time warp. Ricciardo now up into 3rd. Kvyat, his teammate, pits from 4th. Rosberg medium tyres. Been very conservative on the tyre strategy, has Nico Rosberg. That could well play into his favour, especially with 0 damage at the moment, and the other two have got some. Into the pits then comes Lewis Hamilton from 2nd place. The championship leader loses positions to Ricciardo and to Nico Rosberg, but he's out on soft tyres, and that's going to be key for him because he's going to be able to get 5 laps without too much drop off. So he'll be zoning straight in on Rosberg and Ricciardo. I think Ricciardo will be pitting potentially this time around as well. Lots of people pitting. That is Pastor Maldonado in from 17th. Ricciardo stays out as well. Couldn't be trying to get to the end surely. Giving that Bottas. Carlos Sainz pits from his hard-tyred shod Toro Rosso. Through goes the 3-stopping Kimi Raikkonen. Through goes Nico Hülkenberg. Out comes Carlos Sainz. Hülkenberg stopped twice as well, as is Alonso. Ricciardo goes round again. So, still no stops for Vettel and Ricciardo, and here comes Hamilton steaming up to the back of Nico Rosberg, who in turn is closing down Sebastian Vettel. This is all going to meet in the middle. And there's an F Maldonado. That should be a P. I've really just noticed that. Into the pits comes Vettel. He takes himself out from the lead. That's too late, I think, to be able to get the big benefit from the soft tyres. And that big benefit is exactly what Lewis Hamilton is getting as he takes the lead from Nico Rosberg, lapping Felipe Nasser at the same time. Now Max Verstappen too. Beautiful moves there by Lewis Hamilton. Rosberg then into 2nd. Kvyat moves up into 3rd. Vettel's to 4. Bottas to 5. Daniel Ricciardo, late stopper, into 6th. Might be able to do something on Bottas potentially. Then it's Perez, Massa, Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Grosjean and Alonso battling away. Button not far behind. Then Verstappen, Maldonado, the 2 Saubers and the 2 Marussias. Rosberg's not done yet, is he? Look at that. Steams right up onto the backside, tries to go the long way round. Side by side go the Mercedes. Rosberg has better straight line speed, uses some draft and some of his, well, some more of his boost. He's trying to keep the lead. He's kept a little bit going. Is he going to try and block him in against Alonso? Didn't work. Hamilton got through without him. Side by side again. This is the final lap. Mercedes versus Mercedes. Neither one wanting to leave it. Grosjean's in the way and he's holding up Nico Rosberg. He's going to have to go all the way around the outside on him, but that means Rosberg is just able to hold off Lewis Hamilton for another 1-2 for Mercedes. Vettel is there. Then it's Kvyat. Bottas holds off Daniel Ricciardo. Pitted too late on his strategy. Then it's Perez, Massa. Raikkonen is just lost out to Carlos Sainz, or has he? Final corner. Raikkonen's back through again and then beats out Sainz. Then it's Hülkenberg, Grosjean, Alonso, Maldonado, Button, Verstappen. Ericsson's just got round Nasser, who was off the track. Stevens beats Merry. Equal points now for Vettel and Rosberg in the battle for second. They've kind of dropped Kimi Räikkönen a little bit as a result of that poor showing for the Iceman. Kvyat clear of Ricciardo now. Battle for the Force Indias looks interesting, doesn't it? And then who else is in a good old squabble? Button has scored more than Alonso. Verstappen in the middle of all of that, so the battle for 12th is looking quite juicy. Who's going to be the best Lotus, I think, is an interesting one as well. Stevens ahead of Merry. That also has potential to swing. Lotus and Sauber equal on points as well. Istanbul Park. It was delightful to see this back on the calendar during the pandemic. Didn't want a pandemic, but it did bring us the Istanbul Park back on again. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. But yeah, love this track. Such a lovely flow to it. Another one of my favourite ones from the Tilk Drone Central. A couple of his I quite like, and this is one of them. And this looks like another Rosberg pole, doesn't it? Love a pole. And as I down the back this time around, it's our usual suspects up at the top. Both Ferraris ahead of Hamilton. Oh, Rosberg on the hard tyres. That's a brave start. Immediately chops across Vettel, who will have none of it and dives into the lead for the Ferrari. Then outbrakes himself. Rosberg back through. Hamilton on soft tyres up into third. That was Vettel's chance to break away, and it's not happened. If anything now, actually, Rosberg has got a nice little gap. There come the Red Bulls steaming through. Past Bottas. Raikkonen gets past Daniel Ricciardo, who again leaves him all the room and a little bit more as the drivers make their way through. Something happened to Sainz and the McLarens. They dropped right away to the back of the field. Everyone using their boosts very early on in the lap, especially considering there's these giant back straights going on. So there we go. Hamilton through. Vettel through on Rosberg. Expected as it's soft versus hard tyres. Kvyat and Raikkonen having a little squabble too. Again, everyone running out quite wide around that corner. Perez, Verstappen, Grosjean having a look at Hülkenberg. Wasn't able to do anything with it. Sainz quite damaged in that Toro Rosso. I think that'll be an early stopper. As the Marussias swapping positions, Merry and Stevens. So Hamilton leads the way. Oh, Rosberg into the gravel. That's lost him out to Raikkonen and to Kvyat as well. Hülkenberg, I think, got caught in the gravel too because he was just losing places to Grosjean and teammate Perez. Soft-tired running there for Perez, so he should really be a wee bit ahead by rights anyway. Massa's been into the pits in the Williams, an early stopper. And he quite fancies trying to get himself back up the order again. Someone else is in this time. There's two in. So that's Grosjean. And Carlos Sainz in. Yeah, I thought he would be. Ooh, Sainz back out on soft tyres. That's brave. So, Hamilton, Vettel, Raikkonen, Kvyat back ahead of Rosberg. That's Daniel Ricciardo getting past Bottas. Ooh. Pops him into the gravel for good measure as well. Ricciardo then puts himself in the gravel. Actually, that strangely makes him less leery in that next corner. I think that could be a weird trait of the AI lines as Massa gets around Stevens. Sainz follows through as well. Hamilton. Oh, he's looking a bit serene for that Mercedes driver, isn't it? Vettel not able to do anything. Raikkonen now having to battle with Rosberg, who by strategy has put himself in an awkward position. Once again losing out to Daniel Kvyat. Those two have been swapping around like they've been on some kind of juggling act. Ricciardo again just not quite with it. Bottas on hard tyres. That's Ricciardo in for an earlier stop actually. Is that going to be another pair of softs? Yes it is. And that puts him out in nice clear air actually, so that could work out quite nicely. Maldonado in 2 for the Lotus team. He comes out not a million miles away behind Sainz and Massa. Sebastian Vettel in. Hello undercut. New fresh tyres for Sebastian. Bang on the halfway mark. And clean air as well. Is this going to be the way how he tries to challenge Lewis Hamilton, who's got quite a bit of traffic up the road? As both McLarens come into the pits. But they didn't really affect Hamilton at all. In comes Hamilton, in comes Rosberg, in comes Raikkonen. Roberto Merry will be in as well. And that's the power of the undercut. Sebastian Vettel into the lead. Hamilton then second, Kvyat into third, then Rosberg, Bottas yet to pit, then Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Perez, Hülkenberg, Romain Grosjean. That was a cheeky move on Max Verstappen. He's on hard tyres as well, so he's got the long boat to get through. Nasser and Sainz there in trouble. But yeah, Sebastian Vettel, 2 seconds clear, well, one and a half really clear of Hamilton. Hamilton's got better tyre life, but will he be able to catch all of that up nice and quickly? A lot of this I think is going to depend on things like traffic, and getting stuck behind Carlos Sainz and Felipe Nasser is not helping you, Sebastian, in the slightest. Now Hamilton's got the same problem, and look at the way how he gets stuck behind the Sauber and Toro Rosso. But he's made a better job of it, and he's kept some of his boost, and look at how quickly he's caught up to Sebastian Vettel. Goes one way, goes the other. Is he going to go a long way round? Yes, he is. Vettel cuts him off. He can't hold that off for 4 laps, surely. Into the gravel goes Vettel very briefly, but then onto the grass goes Hamilton. Vettel retakes the lead back through again. Beautifully done. Daniel Kvyat is closing up on the pair of them. This becomes a freeway very shortly. Signs in for a second stop, drops to 18th. Vettel and Hamilton continue to lead the battle away. Oh, and that's another mistake from Hamilton, who was getting a bit leery in trying to work out which way to go. Vettel's held on to this longer than I thought he was going to when they all come together. And now Hamilton's in trouble because Danny Kvyat's there. Rosberg's closing in. Raikkonen's coming along for the ride. But I think that slipstream action and a wee bit of boost has properly helped out Lewis Hamilton into the lead, and just in time for lapped traffic. We've got Alonso and Massa in trouble. Ericsson's next up the road, and that's kind of disposed of Daniel Kvyat. So they both get around the Sauber of Ericsson, and look, Vettel gets back through again. That slipstream's so powerful, but Hamilton has the inside line, yoinks it back. This is not done until they're over the line. I thought we were done with that, but clearly not. Kvyat in third, I think, is not there or thereabouts. Vettel made a little bit of a grab on the grass, and that's given a gap back to Lewis Hamilton. And then with Merry providing a bit of slipstream action for Hamilton, I think actually that has helped cement a Lewis Hamilton win around the Istanbul Park. Vettel second, then it's Kvyat, Rosberg for Raikkonen 5, Ricciardo 6, then it's Perez, Bottas, Verstappen going to be in 9th, possibly. I think that's his best result of the season there for Max Verstappen. Grosjean is in 10th if he can make it, but there's his teammate Maldonado speeding in on him, the damaged low tyre, but that's a good run for the Lotuses if they can hold it, and they do. Beats off Button, then it's Hülkenberg who was about to break down. Alonso, Ericsson and Nasser. Sainz, terrible run to 17. Massa, an even worse run down in 18th for Williams. That's going to be problematic for him in his battle with his teammate. Stevens beat home Merry again. Oh, that kind of detaches Ericsson from the rest, doesn't it? Puts Verstappen ahead of Button. And it looks as if Sainz will definitely get over that 100-point mark. It kind of asks the question, could Button or Verstappen do the same? Who knows? But it's looking increasingly comfortable for Hamilton, who I think could, around Estoril, win the championship. Nice dark cement here around the Estoril circuit. Which, when I was less read up, I used to think Portimao and Estoril were the same circuit. I didn't realise that they were two different circuits. As Hamilton leads us around. What we got? Looking quite juicy up ahead. Very commanding from Hamilton. Vettel is going to hold off Raikkonen just about. There we are over the line. Not a good day for McLaren, was it? Good day for Williams though, 5 and 6 for Massa and Bottas, and that's what I mean. Whenever you have like a bad run, you get a good run afterwards, and if you have a good finish, you have a bad one afterwards. Grosjean in the top 10 for Lotus as well. Can he transfer something for a good result there? Hamilton's soft tyres then. Holding off Vettel's mediums, just about. Rosberg's on softs too, as is Raikkonen, and look at the way they're trying to squabble with each other to get ahead. Williams is both on hard tyres, not able to really battle too much, so they're just looking forward to cementing their positions. Kvyat through again, Ricciardo hard tyres. Ericsson on softs is suddenly in 9th. How did that happen? Oh, Hülkenberg stuck in the gravel, as is Button. Doesn't help at all, either of their runs, but look, Hamilton well clear. Rosberg dive bombs for second, overdrives it, Raikkonen back through. There's Daniel Kvyat having a go at Vettel, Massa and Bottas in the Williams' hard tyre shod cars. Not dropping away too far from Vettel. And look, through he goes. Well done, Felipe. Diving through those gravels, Ericsson doing a good job. Nasser there, although damaged in that Sauber, now up into 11th. I think he might be into the pits, and indeed he is. That's a very early bailout for the Sauber driver. Carlos Sainz again in for repairs early on. That won't help him and his cause. Mediums for Nasser, hards for Sainz, which makes a bit more sense, I'd have thought, because tyres go off very quickly around this circuit. I think Nasser might have just committed himself to a two-stopper. Here comes Kimi. Ooh, runs out of boost. Or well, the boost resets itself at the start-finish line, doesn't it? So Hamilton was able to block that with a defensive boost. Kvyat all on his own, and it's Bottas. Vettel looking very damaged, as is Massa and Ricciardo. Ericsson there just behind them. Then it's Perez, Hülkenberg, Button and Alonso. Soft-tyred McLarens, I think they would have hoped maybe have been a bit higher up the order than that. Lots of pitters. Look, into the pits. The two damaged Williamses off their hard tyres and onto mediums. That could work out not too bad, you know, for those two. Ooh, Maldonado trying to get past Massa, didn't quite work. There's Vettel back out in 15th on soft tyres. Just not worked for him at all. That's Will Stevens, yet to pit. Getting passed by Nasser. Sainz will be the next one through. Merry on medium, slightly further back. Hamilton still leading now by 4 seconds as Daniel Ricciardo pits from his hard-tyred shod Toro Rosso. Ericsson moves up into 5th, having a great run. Then it's Perez, who I think is about to absolutely humble the Sauber driver. Through he goes. You can see the crossover really happening there. Then it's Button really holding up Bottas, who gets through. Hülkenberg yet to pit. That's Massa and Vettel ping-ponging his way through around Massa and Hülkenberg. Button in the gravel as well. And there we go, into the pits. Rosberg, Raikkonen, Kvyat and Hamilton. Hard tyres, mediums, hards. Hard shod Perez yet to pit. Softs for Kvyat. Ooh, that could be painful. He'll get the early goodness. As you can see, he's already attacking Kimi Raikkonen, hounding that Ferrari. But after about 3 laps, that Red Bull could well be a duck in sitting position. But he'll take the fun now. Perez stays out. Half distance there. Then it's Bottas, Massa, Vettel. Ooh, Ricciardo there hitting the back of Vettel. Grosjean gets round Marcus Ericsson, who's pitted now for 10 and 11. As Nasser, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Pastor Maldonado on soft tyres. Button's gone to soft tyres as well, interestingly. Roberto Merri yet to pit, down in last. It's all kind of spread itself out quite nicely, actually. Vettel on those soft tyres, not able to get round Massa on the mediums. He was able to catch up to the back of him quite quickly enough. Just didn't actually get through, and now he's pushing the Williams driver around as they come up to the knackered tyres of Perez in the Force India, who is trying to do a later one stop. I think he'll get himself onto maybe the mediums, would you go with? Or would you go... Oh no, he's going round again, so I think he's going to try and go hard soft. As that is Kvyat getting round. Raikkonen. I wanted to say Ricciardoing. That's Nasser into the pits for repairs by the looks of it in the Sauber. Second stop for him. Well, Rosberg is closing down Hamilton. That was a 4-second gap, remember. It's now down to 1.2-ish. And they're well clear of Raikkonen in third. Bottas 4, Ricciardo 5. That's Kvyat. Now, with a second stop done, out in 6th. Massa, Grosjean, Ericsson, and there's Perez, who is currently ahead, now that he's stopped for the first time, of Vettel, who's done 2. That's all well and good. Ooh, that's damage for Raikkonen. But I just feel like Rosberg's going to run out of tyres before he's able to really do too much damage to Lewis Hamilton. But let's see how we get on. Closing in quite nicely at the moment, like the end of lap 12 of 16. That's probably not the best way to do that gravel trap, Nico. But there we go. Lots of 2 stoppers. Here comes Rosberg onto the back of Lewis Hamilton then. The 2 battling away. Going around to pop a lap on Carlos Sainz, who's in 15th position. He's stopped twice. And you can see now that Rosberg's up onto the back of Hamilton, not much doing. Oh, Hamilton though, into the gravel. Rosberg there pushed himself wide. Didn't really work so well. And here comes Nico. And he's going to go the long way around, is he? Into turn 1. He's gone out wide. Hamilton sneaks himself back through again. That could have been the big move. Look, Carlos Sainz trying to unlap himself. Raikkonen then next up. Then it's Daniel Ricciardo ahead of Daniel Kvyat. Then it's Bottas who's coming into the pits. There, look, he's run out of medium tyres. It's a very late stop for the Williams driver. That's not worked out well at all. Then it's Massa's going to have to do the same because they've done the same strategy, didn't they? That's really buggered it up for Williams. It's worked out beautifully, though, for Vettel and Perez. Well, Perez primarily because he's got through. Is that a change for the lead up front? Yes, it is. It's Rosberg having another go at Hamilton and having another miss. Oh, dear. No good at all. The other people making great hay. If they can get home, Marcus Ericsson 9, Romain Grosjean potentially in 10th in those hard tyres if he can make them last. He can't, he's into the pits. That's not worked out for him, so Hülkenberg and Massa are going to go up the positions. That was looking good for Grosjean until that happened. And look at the state. Nico Rosberg has lost lots and lots and lots of time with all of this traffic and lots of errors. 5 seconds really. And he's got Raikkonen closer to him than he is to Hamilton, so that's all gone horribly, horribly wrong for the German at the penultimate lap, leaving Lewis Hamilton coming home to win the Portuguese Grand Prix. There's a battered Nico Rosberg in second, Kimi Raikkonen getting third. Look at these cars, they're all blowing up. Ricciardo's going to get fourth ahead of Daniel Kvyat, I think. Yep, he is. Then it's Vettel, Perez, Bottas, Massa, Grosjean. Ericsson, I think, has run out of tyres, which is why he's now struggling. Then it will be Hülkenberg or Sainz. No, it'll be Sainz. Then Hülkenberg. No, Hülkenberg then Sainz. Fair enough. You do you, game. Maldonado, Nasser, Alonso, Verstappen only 17th, Button only 18th, and it was Stevens and Merry again. So 2 races to go. Hamilton not quite able to claim the championship, but should be able to claim it if all goes well in the penultimate round. Vettel technically within a chance of scoring, but only if Hamilton scores 0 for the next 2 rounds. What else is going on elsewhere? Sainz has gone over the 100-point mark. I think he'll be the only other one to do it, won't he? Because Verstappen didn't score very much and has actually been closed down by Button. Will Stevens in double points. And that run with Grosjean, I think that was there, really helping out Lotus. Okay. I thought it would be worthwhile sticking Kyalami on the calendar because there's currently an awful lot of talk of let's go back there. So let's give it a go. Here we are. Seeing the South African circuit in full glory in Ultimate Racing 2D2. Downloadable track from the Steam Workshop. Thank you again to all the creators that make all of these track mods and car mods, because I am graphically inept. And so whilst I can make all of this weird and wonderful content, I cannot do it without a fantastic modding community. And is that another pole position for Nico Rosberg? I tell you what, if there was a Saturday quality, well, Mr. Saturday before Mr. Saturday existed, but if there was a Saturday pole cup, it would be Nico Rosberg's, wouldn't it? Bottas doing well, 4 for Williams. Grosjean in the top 10 again for Lotus. Verstappen again, not having a great run of it. Surprised me actually, I thought that the Toro Rossos were going to be a bit more competitive than what they've ended up being in this mod. But it's the hard-shod Hamilton into the lead ahead of mediumed Rosberg and hard Raikkonen. But that is Rosberg now stretching his legs. Thank you very much. Everyone else diving through. The Williams is looking a bit battered and worse for wear. Everyone else okay? I think they are. Button in Maldonado in trouble there. At the end of lap 1, Rosberg a 2-second lead as Raikkonen and Vettel squabble away with their medium and hard-shod tyres. That's Perez diving through in the Force India, doing a great piece of overtaking there on Daniel Ricciardo. Hamilton on hard tyres down to 6th. That would still make him champion though. And well, going into 4th would make him even more championer. There's quite a few damaged cars going on. Even Nazar, who's up into 10th, soon to be 9th. A bit damaged there. Will he pop into the pits? No, he won't. No one's in, actually. It surprises me. Merry's still ahead of some people there. He's on soft tyres in that Marisha, with the hard and medium but damaged shod Maldonado and Button behind him, as that is Daniel Ricciardo battling with Lewis Hamilton. But again, that's a damaged Daniel Ricciardo who's running in 4th position. Will he pit? Yes. Oh, there's a barrier. Bottas doing the same. Bump ass, more like. As Kimi Raikkonen then leads the way from Rosberg. That's a change. Wowzers. Okay, Alonso was also in the pits then too. So 3 of these 20 have pitted, 17 still to do so. But Raikkonen with hard tyres. Now hard tyres only last from lap 9 to 13. Mediums 8 to 11. Softs again 6 to 9. So if you're going to try and go soft, you're going to struggle a wee bit. This is going to be more of a medium if you're going to do anything at all. Like that. And it's clearly showing, look, Verstappen, Hülkenberg, Sainz all in. Sainz pretty much committing himself to a do-stopper there. Gets out just ahead of Will Stevens. Pastor Maldonado out of the pits into last place as Rosberg has another go at Raikkonen. He needs to strike whilst he's got that tyre advantage. Vettel in 3rd. This isn't keeping his championship alive. He needs to win. And then see if Hamilton scores nothing. Hamilton kind of on his own there in 4th position at the moment as Rosberg retakes the lead back from Raikkonen. But these lot are all just damaging each other with these problems. So can they keep it clean and be fast? Not if you're Vettel hitting the back of Rosberg. What are they doing down into turn 1? Ooh, not quite. Not quite. This is looking much more better from Vettel. Oh, the long way round. What a move. Beautifully done. Into the pits there comes, I think that was Grosjean, yeah. Sainz, Maldonado. Button getting past Stevens. They're not coming round to being lapped. And that's Raikkonen bailing early. Hard tyres damaged. You can get to the end on mediums from here, and that's exactly what Kimi Raikkonen's doing. Perez is probably going to do the same. Same for Kvyat, maybe? No, softs for both. Brave world for them. And for Massa. Oh, that's Nazar there. Not quite getting into the pits properly. Through goes Verstappen on mediums. There's going to be some very knackered tyres at the end of this race. A bit like what we had with Estoril last round. We might see some people having to pit right at the end. A bit like Rosberg pitting now. He's popped back out on softs. I mean, they should in theory last. It's just they're going to be very worse for wear. So he's got to make hay whilst the sun shines. He's come out in clear air at the moment, but he's got Merry up ahead to lap. Then Kimi Raikkonen, who's already pitted on medium, so he needs to kind of dispose of Merry and then attack Kimi and get ahead whilst he can. Vettel and Hamilton continue to go around again, and look, Hamilton much better on his tyre life at the moment, and it's showing. These two are our championship battle protagonists, and Hamilton takes it with ease on those hard tyres. I'd almost want to pit now and get them off and be on the softs from now on in. You've already got the advantage. Don't wait for the undercut to take place. Look at Rosberg. There we go. Well, that just shows just how much extra pace Rosberg has had on these soft tyres. Past Vettel. Now he's going to go for the lead, isn't he? Hits his teammate, pops him out of the way. Well, it's not been Rosberg's year when it's come to the actual races. On the Saturday, he's proven himself more than capable of the poles. Not for the translation into wins though. Into the pits comes Vettel from 4th position. Perez, Kvyat, Bottas, Ricciardo, Verstappen and Massa, your top 10. Then it's Hülkenberg and Nasser up to 12. Alonso, I think, might... his tyres might be okay. Grosjean, Ericsson, there's Sainz and Maldonado being lapped by our leaders. Button just behind 2, and then let's see how we get on. So 4 to go. Rosberg's got a decent lead over Hamilton, who's still not pitted. This really surprises me. He's put himself at such a weird position. There's Raikkonen about to take 2nd, and he does so very nicely. Vettel will have 3rd pretty soon enough, you'd imagine. There's a lot of lapped traffic that Hamilton's had to get through. Now he pits. So he's had to do all of that work to get round everyone, plus then go into the pits, plus he's had to carry those tyres a very long way. Oh look, that was well clear. Perez has got ahead of him even. Though Perez will be low on tyre wear and won't be much of a, well, won't be any threat at all there. Hamilton's got it all to do. Can he close up with 3 laps to go and really have a good concerted effort on things? That midfield looks absolutely nuts. This is Alonso and Grosjean battling away. Alonso is very old tyre-wise, but so is Grosjean, to be fair. They squabble over 13th and 14th. They're alongside Raikkonen, the only people who are not on soft tyres. So they've danced to their own tune, and I'm not sure it's the tune they wanted to dance to. Hamilton, I don't think, is close enough to be able to do anything with anyone. The only thing that might happen here, Rosberg's going to win the race, which guarantees Hamilton the championship, but Vettel dives past Kimi Raikkonen to get 2nd, so that gives him the best possible opportunity that he can have. Perez is going to be struggling to hold Bottas off, I think, around this last lap as well, because Bottas has so much better tyres. And well, it's a little too late in the season for it, but Nico Rosberg gets a pole and a win in Kyalami for the South African Grand Prix. Excellent stuff. Vettel comes home 2nd, but it is not enough. Kimi Raikkonen will be 3rd, and Lewis Hamilton is off the podium in 4th, but that is a championship. 5th's going to be Bottas. 6th will be Daniel Ricciardo. Perez loses 2 places in that final lap, but still a great race for the Force India driver. Then it's Kvyat. Verstappen 9th, another good run in a Toro Rosso, and that looks like Hülkenberg's going to grab 10th on the line from Felipe Massa, or did Massa get it? No. Hülkenberg got it by 200ths from Massa. Then it's Nasser, Grosjean, Alonso, Ericsson, Button. Sainz again, not a good run. Maldonado, Stevens ahead of Merry. Stevens now double Merry's points after all of that. And there you can see the confirmation. Rosberg moves into 2nd in the championship, ahead of Vettel and ahead of Raikkonen. But they're all more than 30 points clear, so Lewis Hamilton has won already. In the constructors, Mercedes have also won there too, ahead of Ferrari. Red Bull guaranteed 3rd, Williams guaranteed 4th, Force India guaranteed 5th. It would be a miracle if any of the other things change. The only one I could see potentially changing might be Sauber leapfrogging Lotus if Lotus have a terrible time. And we're off to Adelaide for a reminiscence of the 80s and 90s. I do enjoy Albert Park, but I do love a little bit of Adelaide too. How's this looking as a circuit with good AI on? The AI looks quite competent around here actually. Well done again to the mods. Doing a fine bit of jobs. And oh, hello Sebastian Vettel. He quite fancies a run for pole, but I think rounding out tradition as it's been throughout this entire season's mod, It's pole for Nico Rosberg. Ta-da! Oh dear. Bad run by Button. So, for the final time of asking for the 2015 mod. Oh, soft tyres for the top three. Raikkonen and Ricciardo on hards. Mediums for Kvyat. And so it's all status quo up front because everyone's running their own little thing. So, down to the hairpin we go then. That looks like Hamilton's going to do a dive bomb on Vettel. Oh, clicks the gravel though and doesn't get it through. Ericsson's doing well in the Sauber. That's Nasser going up the order. Hockenheimring's damaged and last on hard tyres. Both the soft shod Mauritius have got past him. I don't know what's happened to Hockenheimring there. Terrible start. Rosberg leads though from Hamilton and Vettel. That's Kvyat on medium tyres. What's that? Who's been playing in a Gran Turismo public lobby? Oh dear. But he's going around the outside. He's not giving up, is Daniel Kvyat. To be fair, again, this is another race where the tyre wear is really high. So it makes sense to go medium if you really want less of a drop off over time. But yeah, look, some of these drivers really struggling. Nasser again up the order, as is Perez. But those cars are damaged. And they're damaged goods, a bit like Alonso's McLaren there too. Into the pits at the end of lap 3, start of lap 3 there was Nico Hülkenberg, so that was why he was so slow. Problems for the Force India driver. Rosberg still leads the way. That is Vettel versus Kvyat continuing on. Daniel Kvyat not able to do very much. More into the pits, that is Nasser and Alonso. Those two did not surprise me at all. And they are out ahead, or behind the two Mauritius, and they're just smashing them out the way. There is Nasser. It's not going to help him. Hamilton closing down Rosberg. Kvyat's lost out there somewhere along the line. And look at Felipe Massa. It's been a relatively quiet year for Massa in that Williams. He's been plodding away and getting some decent results, but it's been Bottas that's largely had like the peaks of battling up front, even if he's slumped back down further in the races. But this is a good run from Massa on hard tyres in 5th position. Ahead of Danny Ricciardo. There's his teammate Bottas down in 9th. Button, hard tyres in the top 10 though for McLaren. That could be handy later on. So that's Alonso, Perez and Nasser getting around Will Stevens in the Mauritius. Hülkenberg's got round Merry as well. Merry being lapped already by Rosberg, Hamilton, Vettel. There's Kvyat diving past the Mauritius, or attempting to at least anyway. Massa getting lucky with the traffic. Ooh, avoid the barriers though, Felipe baby, as here comes Hamilton on Rosberg for the lead of the race down the back straight. Nicely stopped into the hairpin. That worked out a treat and a half. Into the pits, Will Stevens, and that allows the Mercedes and co to just get on with their race. That's Raikkonen getting out past Massa. Ricciardo kind of on his own again. Sainz yet to pit. Oh, penalty there for Merry. I'm not sure why. Button still not stopped in 10th on hard tyres. Then it's Ericsson, Maldonado. Then the stoppers, Alonso, Perez, Verstappen, Grosjean, Nasser, Hülkenberg, Stevens and Merry. And that is Daniel Kvyat into the lead, followed by Raikkonen and Massa, because Lewis Hamilton has pitted. And he's got out ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, and that is what Rosberg's got to battle with and get past, and he's done it. Made light work of the Aussie, as Hamilton makes light work of the Brazilian. Interesting. Okay. Juicy, juicy. But again, Hamilton putting on a masterclass and showing exactly why he is champion in this 2015 mod. Next up for him to take is Kimi Raikkonen. Is he going to get Danny Kvyat at the same time? third to first in one fell swoop. Beautifully done. Raikkonen tries to fight back, cannot do so. I think Kvyat and Kimi will be into the pits potentially quite soon. If not that lap, the next one. Rosberg's got it all to do. Nasser and Perez popping out of the pits, pinballing Kimi there. That didn't work very well at all. Rosberg passed Kvyat. In fact, that has really buggered up Kimi Raikkonen. You could see the amount of smoke coming out the back of that Ferrari. Just cycling through the other drivers. He'll be popping into the pits. Kvyat comes in with him. Kvyat will be annoyed with that because I think he would have thought that he could have got past the Ferrari driver. And look, they're coming out of the pits together. Just about beating Valtteri Bottas and Felipe Massa. Massa gets past the teammate. Bottas yet to pit. Same for Daniel Ricciardo. I think they might be trying to get to the end, but I think they might run out of tyres by the time they get there. Daniel Ricciardo would dearly love a podium on home soil. He's not going to get it though. He's not going to stay ahead of his teammate for very much longer. Look at the speed of which Kvyat and Raikkonen have closed back up to the Australian. Massa going with them. Yeah, that's a fool's errand trying to do a one-stop. In fact, everyone's bailed out of it. Oh, Ericsson causing himself a problem there. Grosjean fancying getting past. But look at that, just serene for Hamilton. Rosberg just a second behind. It's not all over just yet. And there is Daniel Ricciardo now down in 7th. I think he'll need to pit. Those tyres look too knackered. Yeah, he comes in. That is a terrible strategy for the Red Bull driver. He'll do well to get out ahead of Carlos Sainz. I don't think he will. Oh! Through goes Bottas. Wow. That just says it all really, doesn't it? Perez in trouble, as is Nasser, as is Mary, with issues with their cars. But there's no issues at all for Lewis Hamilton, who has got a 2.3 second lead, serenely wandering around for a victory to cement his World Championship in 2015. Beautifully driven, expertly raced, and fantastic strategy too. Lewis Hamilton wins the final round ahead of Nico Rosberg, Sebastian Vettel, and then it will be Danny Kvyat. Kimi Raikkonen, Massa's going to get a top 6 to round out the season. Then it's Ricciardo ahead of Bottas, Carlos Sainz. Button is going to get a top 10 in the McLaren as well. Good run from the English driver. I think he'll be quite pleased with that. Verstappen, Ericsson, Alonso, Grosjean, Perez and Hülkenberg. Terrible final round for Force India. Maldonado, Nasser, Stevens and Merry. So this means this is your final order. So Merry classified 20th with just the 6 points, ahead of Will Stevens with 13. So a comprehensive win there for Stevens in that battle. Maldonado ended up 18th in the end, being outscored by 1 single point by Marcus Ericsson in the final round. Nasser ended up 16th despite being much higher most of the season. Alonso bounced up into 15th position, equal with Grosjean on points, but Grosjean gets it overall. Button just missed out on crossing the 100 point mark with 96 points and 13th. That was a good 10th place to round off. I think that was his best result of the year. Verstappen 12th, but behind Carlos Sainz there in terms of points. And the two Toro Rossos. Nico Hülkenberg was 10th, beaten out in the last couple of rounds by Sergio Perez for points. Felipe Massa stays in 8th with 188. Bottas 207. Ricciardo firmly in 6th really. Daniel Kvyat in 5th position. Kimi Raikkonen stayed in 4th. Sebastian Vettel was 3rd. Nico Rosberg 2nd. Lewis Hamilton, a comprehensive trounce to win with 390 points. And with the constructors, Mercedes win, quite clear from Ferrari and Red Bull. Williams stay ahead of Force India. Toro Rosso are on their own, ahead of McLaren, and Lotus kept ahead of Sauber in the end there, with Marussia on 19 points. And that's our championship. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you continue to still enjoy this Ultimate Racing 2D2 mod series. Please put down any comments or suggestions of future mods that you'd like to see ran, potential tracks that I could download and play, or if you want to see any switch ups to the rules. Take care, happy racing.